Hello, everybody. Welcome to the NEPA Scene Podcast, the only live streaming face to face arts and entertainment podcast covering Northeastern Pennsylvania, offering a true alternative voice in local media. We're coming to you from the NEPA Scene studio underneath Center City Print in downtown Scranton. I'm Rich Howells, the founder and editor of NEPA Scene. Summer Cosco's behind the scenes in the producer's chair. And tonight we're here with vocalist Steve Option and drummer Tommy Lin, a.k.a. Tyrant, of a Scranton bloodcore band Burial Ground. We're performing at Hardcore for Husvar on Saturday, July 25th at St. Mary Center in Scranton. With history dating back to the early 1990s, the recently resurrected group also released a new EP, Ashes from the Human Flame, last month. So we're talking about creating songs from an unreleased track and live vocals from late singer Jamie White, as well as brand new music, recording at SI Studios in Old Forge and adding it to their influential legacy in metal. Their memories with Burial Ground, as well as other bands in the Scranton, Wilkes-Barre hardcore and metal scenes. Tyrant's extensive thrash, speed, death, and black metal work with his band Existentialism. Steve's band Option, what it's like to take over for Jamie. What went into planning the first Hardcore for Husvar event, and the sequel this year, and much, much more. So please join our conversation with your questions and comments down below. We'll get to those later on in the show. So I also want to, before I begin, so we had Side Over on here a few weeks back, and I kept saying Husvar, and because I have this weird thing with my brain where if I know it's supposed to be pronounced a certain way, my brain will correct it to the wrong thing. And I will say that over and over. So I know that it's Husvar, but apparently I kept saying Husvar. So throughout the and in fact, I think I interchanged them a few times. So we'll see how many times I do it this time. But we're going to try and keep it Husvar. Rhymes with fuzz. Just keep that in mind. All right. Summer, cue the music. NEPA Scene is brought to you by Center City Print, bringing your ideas to life in 3 locations, Scranton, Kingston, and Hazleton. These one-stop shops are locally owned and operated, providing high-quality print products at affordable prices. From business cards, brochures, and banners to posters, flyers, and tickets, let their custom design solutions and exceptional customer service make your next project a reality. Use promo code NEPA Scene in person or online at centercityprint.com for 10% off. So if you wouldn't mind maybe starting out by introducing yourselves, tell us a little about yourself. What do you do?
You could go, Steve, if you want.
Yeah. So I'm Steve. Steve Gulbin, but I go by the moniker Steve Option, since that's the way most people in the area know me. Just from when you're in a hardcore band, apparently, you're known by your band name. But I'm originally from northeastern Pennsylvania. I've been living out in the desert for 10 years. That's where most hardcore people go to retire. I think Roger Merritt from Agnostic Front lives out there. Dickie Barrett from the Mighty Mighty Boss Tone lives out there. I've run into a few old hardcore dudes out there, so that's where we all go to retire. But yeah, I'm here doing this now. Yeah, and that's all I have to say about that.
I'm Tommy. I'm the longest serving member in the band, even though I am not the original drummer. I have my own band. I do you guys talked about it, with Existentialism. I do drums, vocals, guitar, and bass. And these guys, I've known Steve, met him in 7th grade, which we talked about that story before, which still brings me giggles. I've known Dave. I've been playing with Dave since I was 15, and he actually contacted me when the original drummer had a little bit of an issue that he couldn't fulfill a bunch of summer dates, and I filled in for that summer, and on the last day of the tour, I said bye to everyone, and Dave called me 2 days later and said the original drummer doesn't want to play anymore, so I've been on with them, and eventually, like with any kind of music business, I think this is how I end up doing my band by myself. Is the music business is a tightrope. You walk a tightrope, and it's mostly dealing with personnel and ego, and I eventually became Barry Brown's manager, and various lineups after the original group left, and I stuck it with Jamie until 2001. We released one more EP and one more album, and they contacted me after Jamie had passed away. I did a reunion show, which was actually great. We practiced that one, and we said our goodbyes, and I thought that was it. And I continue on with my band and have members, and that's how I got the name Tyrant. It was because I held such a iron grip on the band, and eventually the bass player, he's a really nice guy. He gave me the name Tyrant, and eventually I fired him too. So that actually kind of worked out. And I just did. I want to play music. I left the scene in 2001. I was never a hardcore guy, other than seeing all the local bands. Option, obviously, Soulless. I used to see all these bands because they're all people I grew up with. And I actually went to school with Neil's brother, Ryan. And that's how I found out about a lot of these shows and stuff, because Ryan would show up at Neil's concert. And it's funny because wherever Neil went, Steve was there. So they were always in a project together. Until I think late near the end, like Label the Traitor and stuff like that. But Neil was always around. So
Yeah, he wasn't in Label the Traitor.
But yeah, so I've been in the scene. I got into the music business finally in 2006. I don't want to do anything. I don't collaborate. I just became a one-man band when COVID happened. And I think that it helps being in this band, because in this band, I don't have to do anything other than play drums. And me and Steve help out with a lot of the arrangements. Having Steve in the band makes it a new band. I know it's burial ground, but I've told Steve many times, and I've told the band many times, even with Dave. Dave had contacted me throughout the years, and I've turned down Dave many times to collaborate. But this time around was different. Dave sent me the material. Steve sent me the vocals. And, when I first talked to Dave, he said, "Do you want to do this?" And I said, I don't like living in the past. I don't. My life is always forward, but this isn't the past. That's the thing I try to tell everybody. Not only are we just picking up from where we left off, but having Steve in the band, even though Steve has pretty much been in the band since the beginning, he brings the way Jamie sings and the way Dave sings, being a drummer, and now I've always been a singer for X. It's more natural. With Jamie, Jamie was a good singer, but Jamie, sometimes we had to encourage him. With Steve, there's no encouragement. He comes in. This time it's great because Brian lives in Philly, he lives in Arizona, Dave lives in Virginia Beach, and Eric lives locally with me. But this time around, it's always Steve getting back to us before anything else. Because Dave likes to write riff the way Dave likes. He likes to tweak it. But Steve, I would get more files from Steve and be like, "Yo, I just did I'm singing into this box," he calls it, at his studio at home. And so it for me, it's not. A lot of people are saying, you're bringing the band back, but it's not. Because it's not. 'Cause even the songs, they sound like Burial Ground, and it is Burial Ground, but it's like, to me, it's a fresh band. And yeah, we'll play the old stuff, and actually Steve sounds great, because Jamie, near the end, did not take care of himself very well, and you knew that. So whenever we sang, he labored a lot, and that's something I don't see with even with Steve last year. He did, 2 sets? He sounded great by the time he got on stage, so... So for me, it's an extension. It's just a continuum. We just had a very long vacation, very, very long vacation. But it's fun because everything I do in Burial Ground now doesn't take away from everything I do in X. And actually being in X balanced me more, because I used to be more ants in the pants and I want things done. But this time when you have 4 other personalities and 4 other locations, I don't need to rely on. In the past, I only had burial grounds. So, and prior to that, I had a bunch of garage band. I think Carcarious was a Great White Shark with like Jason Romano. That was from like years ago. But playing with Dave since I was 15, he lived 6 houses from me, and that's how I met them. But it's a fresh start. It's a fresh band, and actually we already started demoing new stuff. Dave, tomorrow after we rehearse, I'm gonna sit down with Dave and with Steve, and we're gonna run through some even newer stuff. So looking forward to it. So it's gonna be a good time for the band.
This is why I brought him.
Yeah.
He's a man of many words.
Many. Yeah, it comes with a career too. So if anybody wants to come down for a drink at Cooper's, there you go. I'll give Cooper's a plug right there.
When let's go back to the beginning. Like, what made you first pick up an instrument and feel like you could do this, to be in a band, or in your case to sing?
For me, it was I was 12 years old. I played Little League and Farm League, and then I saw in 1985 the video for Your Love, and the outfield and Alan Jackman changed everything. And I still regard him as one of my favorite drummers. It's because of the song Your Love. And I didn't want to do anything else. I just wanted to play drums. I saw him with that big ass drum set, and that was it. That's how I started in music. And yeah, that's where my point starts. I mean, I could go to how I got into metal, but I don't know how Steve started. So.
Actually,
that'll be my next question. But
I do have a very interesting story about that. Like when we were growing up, Metallica was the thing. Everybody loved Cliff Burton. So there was a group of us. The three of our really good friends was myself, Neil, and Mike Feda, and all of us like wanted to play bass. Mike Feda ended up being the best bass player out of all of us, but we all wanted to play bass, so we all had basses, and we're like trying to learn and trying to play Anastasia, Pulling Teeth, and whatnot, and we decided we were going to start a band. So we Neil was like, "Well, do you want to play bass?" I'm like, "You're much better than me, so why don't you play bass and I'll sing?" And that's literally how it started, because we wanted to be in a band together. We both played bass. Neil was better. I was like, all right, you're the bass player, I'm the singer, and we used to rehearse off of. The first band we did, it was just basically we just did Metallica covers, and we just did. We'd play in my friend's backyard up off of 81 up in North Scranton. We would set up all these lights and just go drink Pepsi and eat Oreos and play Metallica songs really badly. And so that was my first band, Roadkill. That's going way back.
That is way back.
That's for Arlo.
Yeah.
So what was it about? Like, how did you discover metal, hardcore, that sort of stuff? And like, what was it about it that like spoke to you that said, all right, yeah, this is my thing. This is what I enjoy the most.
Mine was, like I said, I was at JCPenney's with my mom, and I couldn't find the box set for Menasor and Superior, and I went downstairs. There was a rock section with a white t-shirt that ended up being Iron Maiden's Seventh Son. It was for $10. My mom bought it, went to school the next day, and the kids were like, "You know what that is, right?" And I was like, "No, that's a band." And after school that day, I walked down to Rouse Record City, which was actually on North Washington back then, right by People's Security Bank, and I bought Seven Sons, Live at the Desk, and Somewhere in Time, and that's how I got into metal. And then when I started listening, and then when you went to high school, or this was actually still junior high, you have people of like mine, and once I wearing that shirt, people introduced me to Metal Church was one of them. Metallica was another one, of course. I mean, Metallica, Overkill, Exodus, Slayer. This is all Death Angel. And it was kind of funny he mentioned Metallica, because that's how I met Steve outside of Spencer's gift shop when him and Neil gave me a little ribbon for wearing a Metallica shirt, shortest draw shirt. But
We're probably just congratulating you. Be like, "Oh, you're a cool guy."
It's fine. I mean, it just, like I said, as a kid, that's how you remember stuff.
Yeah.
But after that, I didn't listen to normal music. I think because that music was so different sonically at the time. For that it's like listening to people who say they heard Led Zeppelin and stuff for the first time. There was nothing that sounded like Maiden and Metallica.
Right.
But I've always been that kid. I'm kind of like, I've been called many things throughout the years. So everybody listened to Metallica and Megadeth and Slayer. So I would purposely listen to Testament and Overkill and Death Angel, and I would purposely wear that. So when I go to school, I didn't stick. Like back then, I didn't want to stick around with that crowd. So Metallica and Megadeth and Slayer kind of left my digestive system rather quick, and I stuck around the bands that were still in the thrash era, but not as popular. And that's always where I've been. But I get chastised for that. Like, oh, you don't listen to anything popular? I said, I listen to Iron Maiden. They sold 250 million records. It's just, I'm just who I am, you know. But I remember I got away from Metallica because once I went to University of Scranton, when I started seeing kids from Staten Island and Long Island wearing Metallica shirts. I'm like, that's right after they did the MTV one on there. I was like, screw this. I was like, I'm never wearing a Metallica shirt, and I never bought one. And I gave all my Metallica shirt away, and I sold everything, including the original Creeping Death cassette that I got. What's the other record company down here? It wasn't Ralph's Record City.
Electric Mineshaft.
Mineshaft, that's right. And I actually bought Jump in the Fire and the original Creeping Death EP, and I sold those two. And actually, the kid I sold it to is coming to our show, Chris.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I sold everything to him. I sold all the posters and everything. My whole room was all Metallica before I found out Lars was a terrible drummer. And he's a terrible drummer. I mean, people feel like, oh, you're just shitting on him. Like,
Now he's going to sue us. Great.
Yeah. I was like, he doesn't have a ride symbol. That's like driving a car with 3 wheels. Like, don't you want a car with 4 wheels? But anyways, that's how I got into metal. So.
Yeah, me, I actually, it was funny. I was just actually telling this story the other day. I remember listening to, I had a record player when I was a kid, and it wasn't even heavy, but for some reason, the song Money for Nothing by Dire Straits, I don't know how I got a hold of the record, but it was the little, 45, and when that part would come on, when that part came on, I would turn up and be like, yeah, that's awesome. Like, I don't know, there was something about that drew that to me, or drew me to that, and then I found... that's when Twisted Sister hit. Twisted Sister was I have a Twisted Sister tattoo. I've seen Twisted Sister a bunch of times. They're like one of my OG hard rock metal bands. But I found Twisted Sister, and from there I just started getting into more and more metal. And then I got into high school, met Neil and Feta and those guys, and they're like, oh, Metallica, and we started checking all that stuff out. And then we noticed Metallica was wearing Danzig shirts and Misfit shirts, so we started trying to research some of those bands, started getting into more of the punk rock stuff, and then Exodus happened. We went to see Exodus down in Allentown Airport Music Hall, and this bunch
of fairground, right?
No, it was Airport. It was Airport Music Hall. It was Exodus. It was Exodus, and a bunch of short-haired dudes opened up for them. A band called Sick of It All, and we were just blown away. We're like, these dudes have short hair and they fucking rock. We're like, we couldn't believe it, and that was right before Blood, Sweat, and No Tears came out, and we just bought that. And then I still love metal. I still listen to metal, but hardcore just won my heart. Then that was when I became hardcore.
What was up with you and Neil shaving half your head off?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
it was a thing at the time.
Yeah, because I went to a show and to see him play, and then one day Steve comes in, he's bald on one side and hair's on the other side.
that was the thing. Yeah, you just shaved half part of your head. I don't know.
I couldn't do it because I was like, I can't do that in my hair. I thought about it, I was like, I can't do that. So.
Yeah.
Little things you remember in life. That was one of them.
So how did Option come about? Did Option come about before Burial Ground? Or?
Oh yeah, no. Option started in late or I always forget 90 or 91. I'm pretty sure it's 90. I think we started in 90, or maybe it was May though. So ironically enough, we had a few metal bands like Roadkill, and we did a band called Immortal. And we played a high school talent show. That was our crowning achievement. But that's another shout out for Arlo. He's one of the only people, friends of mine, that remembers. He'll be like, Roadkill, Immortal. I'm like, shut up, that was nothing. Yeah. Anyways, we had played in a few bands with Mike Wysocki, Chris Conway, and we were at a Sick of It All show in Allentown Airport Music Hall, and me, Neil, Mike, and Chris Conway were sitting on the bench in the back, and we're like, "You want to play music like this?" I think it might have even been Neil that posed it. I think Neil was the and we're like, yeah, let's do this. Let's just do it. What the hell? And we went back, started rehearsing like cover songs and like learning how to play the songs, and then we started writing our own songs. And we actually started out, our first band was actually called Option, was originally known as Positive Energy. And we played like 2 shows, maybe 3 shows as Positive Energy. And then we finally said, you know what, we need a different name. And the first show we played as Option, we played at the Nanacoke LNS Skaterama, and it was opening for the Undead. It was one of the ex-members of the Misfits, and one of these dude Mark Kresge used to put on shows down there, and he booked us to play, and we're like, we're going to change our name to Option. And that was when Option was born. So
now, when did you end up joining Burial Ground?
96, the summer of 96.
Oh, okay.
I was actually at the University of Scranton, and I was walking, actually, because I live right across the street at the U, and Dave, I came home and Dave left me a message. Me and Dave, I started playing when I was 15, and you just don't, even back then, time just flies. So I had been in various metal bands, mostly Carcharodon, Carcarius, and we played like a show here, but it's all talent shows because we were a cover band. Jason started writing his own stuff, and I came home, and Dave said, "Can you give me a call?" Now I knew he was with. Dave had played with Incarnation, right? With Weiss.
Yeah, Incarnation.
And I went to a couple of their shows, and I still think Jason Weiss is probably one of the best metal drummers to come out of this area. But me and Dave always stayed chummy. He was like literally 2 blocks from my house, and he called me, and he said, our drummer got kind of in trouble with the law. We were playing like, I think it was like 20 summer shows. Nanacoke, Fire Hall, CC's. We were doing 2 shows down CC's. That summer we went to Connecticut, Jersey, Maryland, Club 108, or 110, whatever the heck it is. And he sent me, and back then it was a cassette. He goes, "I'll drop a cassette off." And I still remember I was walking into school and I listened to it, and I was like, I can't play this, because I was a straight thrash drummer. And Burial Ground's all offbeats. It's all groove and offbeats. And I called Dave back initially. I said, I don't know if I can actually play this. He goes, "Well, we have a show in 2 weeks. Can you do anything?" And I said, all right. So first song I actually learned was Crown of Thorns, because that was more straight. That was more metal. It had the dun 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 dun. So I learned it. I sat down for hours just to learn how to play offbeats. And once I got that, I showed up for practice. It was, I believe it was a Friday. And I got out of class and went up there. And that's where I met Jamie. And so Jamie came down, and he had his thing that he cheats the payphone with in his hand.
The dialers.
Yeah, the dialers.
Oh, yeah.
And he comes down. He's like, "Nice to meet you." And I said, "All right." And so we started playing Rebirth. And we get to the middle of the song where the song stops, and Dave starts playing on his own before I come back in. And Jamie goes, "Okay, he's good enough. See you at the show." And he's gone. and I looked. I said, "Who's he?" He goes, "That's our singer." He goes, "He's a little busy." And literally my tryout for the band was me playing half of Rebirth. I had learned the entire set, including California Uber Alice. And actually, they by the time we did the first or second show, first show I think was CC's, they had not played "Clung to the Tube" because Josh is a great drummer. Let's face it, Josh is a great top drummer, but Josh has really inconsistent double bass, even when they were recording "Clung to the Tube," which I found out later. So they wanted to play that. And so once they would play that, I added a set list so that I had learned all the songs, but literally for a tryout, Brian wasn't there. It was me, Dave, Eric, and Jamie came down for half a song. And that's how I got in the band, because they just want to get this show done. And that's how I joined. That was summer of 96.
Wow.
96.
So how did you get involved with, I guess hanging out with those guys in Burial Ground?
Oh, well, I mean, I
Were
knew.
you friends with them the whole time?
So I met Jamie probably about 92 or so. He was in a band called So What. We used to play at the factory down in Wilkes-Barre. We met So What, and we just really clicked with those guys. And like when we met Jamie, like I was just like, yeah, he's our people. You know what I mean? Like he because he came in from Jersey. We didn't really know who he was, but he came in and just,
He's actually what Jay and Silent Bob. He's actually Jay's real life cousin.
Yeah, he's related to Jason Mewes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, somehow. I don't. There's a weird
It's his cousin.
It's There's
Like one
there's
step
something
removed.
Yeah, but I actually met him when we were out in Jersey the one time before Clerks came out. He's like, yeah, this is my cousin Shuby. I'm like, Shuby. But then later, I remember him bringing the tape, and he goes, "Oh, he had like a dubbed copy of Clerks before Clerks came out," and he said, "Oh, check remember cousin Shuby you just met last summer?" I'm like, "He's in a movie," and it was Clerks.
Wow.
But anyways, yeah. But yeah, we met Jamie, and we used to spend a lot of time on the factory, and then I just started I didn't drive at the time, so I would just take a bus down and go stay with him for the weekend, and we just hang out and do stupid stuff. We didn't drink back then. He was in recovery, trying to, stay clean. I was straight edge. So we just would hang out and drink chocolate milk, and frickin' he would smoke cigarettes till 4 o'clock in the morning, and we would just talk on the porch, and we really we got close. And he did So What for a while, and then while I was doing So What, he started Burial Ground on the side, so he was doing like both bands for a little while, and then Burial Ground started blowing up, and So What got another bass player, and we were just friends from go. One of the funniest, the earliest memories of Jamie. We all went to Denny's in Scranton, and that was the place to go after shows. We'd go to Denny's in Scranton, and we were all hanging out there. It was him and Jesse from So What were leaving. He goes, "I got a joke for you." I'm like, "What's that?" And he takes a napkin. He goes, "What's this?" I'm like, "I don't know." He's like, "It's a ghost." I'm like, "Okay." He goes, blows his nose, and he goes, "Now it's a boogeyman." And he throws it at me. That's one of my earliest memories of Jamie. I'm like, I like that guy.
Yeah, he didn't change, because by the time I came in to the band, and me and him collaborated a lot of stuff, that's all he did was, and I smoke, but he smoked.
Oh,
and
that's why he's called the Iron Lung.
And we was just like what you said, all night. And I didn't drink. I drank then, but I never drank around him because I knew he was going through recovery. And he lived on Prescott Avenue, and we had the windows open. He would smoke his pack and half of my pack.
Wow.
And was that when you were his roommate, right? Were you guys living on Prescott?
I never lived in Prescott.
No. What is it? I'm trying to think.
I lived on Sanderson Avenue with him.
Okay. Yes, Sanderson. No. He had a different roommate when he lived in Scranton, but we would have to open a window because the house looked like a sauna. I mean, you ever see those cartoons of Tom and Jerry, or the coyote when he finally kills the Roadrunner? He's sitting there with a cigarette, and it just keeps lighting across, and then lights went up. That was Jamie.
Yeah.
He's the one that really. I was into UFOs, but he was into UFOs. I mean, he was. You talked to him about Area 51 and UFOs, and I talk a lot, and I didn't speak for like the next 2 hours. It was interesting. Yeah, good times. Good memories of him.
Yeah.
Speaking of memories, what are some of your favorite times seeing Burial Ground or hanging out with Burial Ground and performing in Burial Ground, of course?
I think every show. I'm a metal kid. Mm. I grew up metal. I stayed metal. These guys went to hardcore. I learned hardcore much later. What I did learn, what I liked about the shows, the various bands Steve was in, is the scene is, metal is a tight community, but hardcore, it's not. It has tight camaraderie, but it's a little extra. It gives you that little extra closeness. Mm. And so even though, because I played in Burial Ground and everybody knew, but the hardcore scene to me, because I had played in the metal and the hardcore scene, and I'm not trying to downplay the metal scene, but because the hardcore scene later doing up, but these kids, they were upcoming kids, and it was a straight edge hardcore scene, but people were generally just like people. Where I roadie for another band at the time, and those scenes were literally drugs in the dressing room, drinking, like everything you would think about drug, sex, and rock.
Sex, drug, and rock and roll.
Yeah, I saw that, and I didn't see that in hardcore. Hardcore thing would be like, and I did it because I skateboarded for a while, and I was the first kid to have a clear vision board. Like you could see the screws through the top. So we would actually go skateboarding, something I never did when I was with the metal guys. They were all serious. Get the show ready, get the amp, get the back line, and that's fine because that's the kind of stuff I like, Maiden with the big backdrops and stuff. But with the hardcore scene was more, it's like hanging out with your friend from the neighborhood. It's like a bunch of kids getting together and say, hey, you guys want to play kickball? And that's really what hardcore is. It had that extra touch of camaraderie. So I literally, a lot of times I would skateboard with some of these guys in the band before we went to play a show, making sure I don't fall because of the drummer. So spraining the ankle was bad. That's actually one of the reasons. Actually, I stopped skateboarding the day somebody stole that vision board, and it was actually at a show, and I never skateboarded again. I didn't want to go.
It's probably one of those metal kids snuck into the show.
Yeah. I was so mad. It was my only clear vision board. I was the first kid to have it. I had a job like pretty much my entire life, and the day somebody stole that vision board, I was like, I didn't do anything until I started snowboarding. So, but yeah, hardcore has a little extra edge in that camaraderie. You really do feel like these are kids that you grew up with and have fun. After high school, you always say we'll see each other, but you really don't see each other. That's not what hardcore is. You really do see them, and you continue seeing them, and that's what I got out of the hardcore scene. Huge camaraderie. So,
how about you? What are some of your barrel ground memories in terms of seeing them out, hanging out with them, that sort of thing?
One of my favorite shows that they played, I remember very distinctly because they were opening up for Earth Crisis at CC's, and it was when Burial Ground was first starting to just kind of gain popularity, and I always saw that as their breakthrough show because when they played with Earth Crisis, kids went fucking bananas.
I bet.
For Burial Ground, and it was like they were like on par with Earth Crisis was like huge. That was like Firestorm, and that was like
that was the record they're supporting.
That was the record that they were supporting, and they were just huge at the time. They were the biggest hardcore band, and Burial Ground kept up with them. I wouldn't say they blew them off the stage or anything, but like they kept up with them. They looked like they belonged. I'm like, wow, they're real. You know what I mean? This isn't just just like local shit. This can go somewhere, if these guys really pursue this, But I was really proud of them that day.
What were some of the best venues, places to see shows, to hang out, and kind of be part of this community?
Back then, Mantis Green was huge before the roof came down.
Yeah, Mantis Green.
CC's was always Vince was always nice to us.
CC's, yeah. I had my problems with Vince after a while because we started, we had the first few shows at CC's. When we first, I love Vince. Don't get me wrong. He's a great guy now. We get along. But I had some problems after a while because he started seeing dollar signs, as opposed to we started out as a DIY. When we first went down there, he used to have rock bands playing, and he didn't know what hardcore was, had no clue. And we went down there, we're like, hey, can we play a show here? Can we do a show on a Sunday matinee? And he said, he's like, yeah, but can you guys sell some tickets beforehand? Pay to play kind of thing. And we're like, yeah, screw it, whatever. So we ended up packing the place. We had over 300 people in there. And if you've ever been to CC's, it's pretty small.
Yeah.
We had over 300 people in there. And I just watched in the cartoons when you see the wolf with the dollar sign in his eyes. I just saw that in Vince's eyes. He's like, and so we started booking shows there more often, and then the door prices started getting higher, and the door prices started getting higher, and then he's bringing bands in out of town, and the door prices are getting higher, and the door prices are getting higher. So we're like, we want our own little DIY scene here. But he would always want higher door prices, and I get it. He's a businessman. He needed to make money, but I was a kid and I was ideologically against we should just do this for the love of it, not make money. But I didn't, as an adult, I'm like, yeah, he needed to put food on his table. He needed to, keep Mama CC in her dentures, and
Mama CC.
Yeah, Mama and Papa CC, they were great. So I get that. In retrospect, I get it, but at the time, I was just like, I'm not playing there anymore. That's corporate bullshit, But
Staircase is another place we played.
Staircase, we had a few shows there. Yeah, Joe Nardone used to book some really good shows. He had a few different venues. He had the Live Wire, the Roller King.
That's right.
Down in Kingston. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Marywood University was a lot. They held a lot of shows at Marywood.
Yeah, we had a few shows there. We had the Battle of the Bands, which was we played at a Battle of the Bands there. Us, actually, Option and Burial Ground played there.
Well, I was at the show. That's one of the last ones with Josh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the last shows with Josh.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, there's always been some, and then of course they had the Columbia Fire Hall, and there's been so many places that if we would always look for a room that somebody would rent to us and just bring speakers and bring. And
Fire halls were nice because they were willing to rent and pack this place with kids. Nanticoke Fire Hall, we played many times, and actually the one year that we played, it was the Summer Hardcore Festival, and it was that band from Converge was the headliner. And that was actually down to Nanticoke Fire Hall. For some reason, these fire guys are great. They were super chill, because I end up booking shows for the band. And so wanted to find the easiest places whenever I call these fire hall. And they're like, well, who are you guys? But, it's not the day of the internet. And we're burial ground, just we could bring this band, that band and stuff. And I don't know who booked that one in Nanticoke, but they called us and they said, yo, we got Converge from Boston. And we're like, yeah, we're on that one. So that was a good summer festival. But those are the places I remember. I mean, I think there was other ones I don't remember by name.
There's been so many places that had shows, like, and every once in a while we get a one-off where, like, they'd have a show one time, and then the person who owned the show would be like, why are these kids going crazy and jumping on each other, and are they hurting each other? Like, they didn't get it, So we ended up like doing like one-offs at certain places, but
underground music's always more pure, no matter how you look at it. Once you get away from the ticket sales and stuff like that. I mean, what Steve said before is how I run my band. I don't get paid. I play music because I want to. I just finished up my 812th show 2 days ago, and I don't get paid. I'm on the air when Steve's coming to my shows. It's online, but I do 3, 4. Like when I leave here, I'm going home and play a show. But that's what I really liked. He's right though, because once Vince saw the ticket price, Burial Ground didn't have a practice place then, and actually we guaranteed him 2 shows a month to pay for the rent. So we were actually practicing downstairs. And so on the days the show was great, just move the drums upstairs. But he's absolutely right. And Vince did have to put food on the table, but he did after a while. I mean, I saw Overkill there, for God's sake.
Yeah, he got some great bands.
He did. I mean, Deicide he got there. What else did he get?
I believe Biohazard play there?
Biohazard on Typo Negative.
Yeah.
And Typo Negative opened up for Overkill, so we were at that show. And the Biohazard played there about 2-3 times.
It's amazing how many bands came through there and played at that club. Yeah.
I was actually on the bus with Barney Greenway and Mitch, the guitar player, because we were the opening band. So I actually met him. That guy was on cocaine and 10 cases of Red Bull, and this was like in the 90s. That guy was wiry. Barney Greenway, British guy, and everything you think of Monty Python, he was on the bus. I had so much fun. I actually didn't want to leave that bus. I was like, this is great. This guy's like a stand-up comedian. They were a lot of fun. Yeah, a lot of Grip Incorporated. Dave Lombardo played there.
Did he really?
Yes, they did. He had his drum set set up backwards. I didn't get to go to the show. My friends went. I had either school or work.
Yeah.
But they had Grip Incorporated played down there. That was when Dave left Slayer, and he ended up. The way the CC stage is so small, they said Dave Lombardo set up his drums backwards, so people were looking up could see everything he was doing. Yeah. So he's had a lot of national acts on there. But when we first, I always remember my first one when I called. I said, "Overkill, is this the Overkill from New York?" They're like, "Yeah, it's Overkill from New York." And that's how I actually met Bobby. And I met Bobby that night. I was the metal director. I took over for Slave on WUSR. And actually, that's where I met Bobby Blitz from Overkill. And actually, throughout these years, I've seen Overkill 60 times.
Wow.
Yeah, that was 2 months ago. Me and my best friend went to see Testament and Overkill. That was the weekend I talked to you guys about. But that was the 60th time seeing Overkill. Great. A lot of fun.
It's amazing how some of these guys are still around doing it.
Oh, yeah, it is.
I saw him just randomly at it was funny. I'm standing in front playing at Overkill played at Tinks. I turn around, he's standing there, Steve. I even looked at it. I looked right at him. I said, "What the fuck are you doing?" He's like, "I like metal." I'm like, "Oh, okay, all right." Yeah, just saw him there.
That was actually Overkill was the first band I ever saw live. The first concert I ever went to was Overkill, Motorhead, and Slayer on the South of Heaven tour in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania on Halloween. And so Overkill was the first band I ever saw play live.
My first show was actually with Dave. Arthur, Dave's dad, drove us to Allentown Fairground. STP opened up for Megadeth. We booed STP off the stage. Because we're like, who does? When he's singing, I am, we're like, who the hell is this guy? And we're all standing going, boo, boo. And it was Megadeth during the Countdown Extinction. It was Arthur drew us down there. Arthur drove the slowest Dave's dad. And they never got to meet him. The speed limit down there was 65, and Arthur drove 35 to 40 all the way down. Me, Dave, I think Eric was there. stuff like that. But yeah, that was my first show, 91, Allentown Fairground. Yeah. Arthur Gruber, I still remember. Great guy. Great guy.
Well, before we get into the new music, I want to talk about some of the music that Burial Ground released over the years.
Okay.
Let Us Pray is obviously the big one, the big album, but there was some EPs and things in there.
There was, yeah, the various lineup had come through. I think that's what really led me to what I did with X, is because of dealing with personnels. It's and I get it. It takes a certain amount of ego to actually play music. I understand that now more than I did then. Back then it was just button heads. And I hate to sound cliche, but every story I repeat, it's not just me telling the story. I've heard every band, whether it's professional band, everybody from the Beatles down to some dickheads band in a garage. There's always ego.
Sure.
Trying to keep those bands together. We did, after Dave and Eric were the last to leave, Brian had already, and I told you that story before, it was, I hadn't been in the band for 3 months, and we had a couple show commitments, and Jamie called me and said, we got to let Brian go. He can't make these shows. And back then, none of us had long distance calling, but I was working at Fleet Bank. So I ended up calling Brian. I had only been in the band 3 months. I was like, oh, Brian. And he's like, yeah. I was like, yeah, well, it's Tommy. We're going in a different direction. He's like, okay. and he didn't, because he was already busy doing his thing down in Philly. And that actually worked out for him. And I told you earlier, that's when I buried the hatchet when I saw him this time mixing. I said, dude, it wasn't my thing to fire you. He said, well, Jamie was too much of a pussy to tell me. So I wanted to get that out of the way.
Yeah.
But there was a Tales of a Soul Gone Mad. That was a split 7-inch with Drag Body, friends of Jamie's, and I forgot what was the kid's name.
I don't remember. But I think they were from Florida.
They were from Florida. No, Brandon. He was Jamie's best friend, and we actually originally went in to record Forever Friends and Tales of a Soul Gone Mad, but due to budget, and I think Dave said that in the last interview, we scrapped Forever Friends. I only played that song twice with the band. I had to learn all of Josh's parts, and for some reason it just did not work out. So the first record, that was the 97, and that's when 96, 97, and that's when we recorded Tales of a Soul Gone Mad. After that, Dave stuck around for a couple months and worked on the album afterwards, which is Infernal Punishment, and Dave worked out the first 2 songs, couple riffs here and there. He wasn't really into it. I didn't know at the time that he already had his 1 foot out the door.
Checked out a little.
Yeah, he checked out a little. And so I finished it with a different lineup. And after that lineup played about, honestly, we played about maybe 20, 30 shows that year. And then that lineup, once again, internally had issues. And then we brought another guitar player. And by then, I think it was Joey, Jamie's brother, and then we recorded one more album. And I think Fado was in the band by then.
Yeah, Fado was in the band. Yeah,
and he was in it for the EP as well. And then after that, those records were never released. Infernal Punishment was supposed to. We played a show at CC's, but it got shut down before we got on. It was actually Strength for a Reason that was opening up that day. And I still remember Brian Gibbons was the GM of Tinks, and there was a big fight that broke out, and they shut the show down. So we sold, all the merch was sold, all the CDs were sold, and we didn't play a note.
Oh, man.
We did not play one note. Was
that CC's or Tinks?
Tinks.
Tinks.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, I do remember that, yeah.
And they shut the thing down, and we never played a note. My drums were up there and everything else like that. Nope, never played a note. Then after that, we with the last lineup, we released our second record. So we didn't get to the third full length yet. So the second record was called Sentence Passed, and by then it was me and Joe. And I have a good musical ear, but I couldn't play any instrument other than sing and drum. So Joe wrote about 80% of the material and whatever he could write, other than the intro, which I wrote. I whistled and hummed. That's what I always did. Until I joined X, I had maybe 3 different guitar players and 1 or 2 bass players in X. I always sat there and hummed or whistled the riff, and that came to a problem. This is how I got the name Tyrant, because when it was time to do the liner notes, they said, "You didn't write that, I did." I said, "I whistled it to you." This is a real conversation. I said, "I whistled it. It still came from my body. Therefore, it's my riff." And the guitar player and the bass player had a problem, so I fired him. I paid for the studio. I picked him up for practice. Yeah. In fact, that bass, that Warwick bass that you see at my house, I bought it for him because he didn't have a bass player. That amp that Brian's going to use tomorrow, I bought that for the guitar player because I worked back then and he didn't have any money, and so after I fired these guys, I kept the instrument. That's why that amp that Brian will be using tomorrow, it's a 1996 crate half stack, and I always whistled and hummed the music, and that's how we wrote the last Burial Ground record with Joey. Joey was an amazing writer. He had problem doing bridge riffs, so a lot of the sentence passed. I did a lot of the bridge riffs. So he would say, "What do you want to go from here?" And he would stop, and then I would whistle or hum, and then he played it. And then when COVID happened, I sat home. I didn't have work for 3 months, and I had a guitar I bought from Butch, and just looked online how to restrain and play the guitar, and here we are 6 years later. So.
Wow.
But Burial Ground had, so after Let Us Pray, Infernal Punishment, Drag Body, Split 7 Inch, yeah. Infernal Punishment, Sentence Passed, and then that's it. And then I see so many stuff online. People there's people bootlegging stuff, which I don't know why, but they do. So. And then now we have Ashes from the Human Flame, which I can honestly say is probably one of the most cohesive record and how it came together. Amazing. It's a lot of fun to play. There's nothing forced in there. Little right in it. Me and Steve had talked about it. Even the title track. That song was barely 2 weeks old when we recorded it. It was the last one to come to the table. Steve actually already had part of the lyrics done by the time he showed up. All we did was arranged it.
Yeah.
He had the singing done and stuff like that. And then Steve had some really cool ideas when we did the cult. Dave wanted that song to be one speed, but Steve kind of broke it up in the beginning. And that's where we did the phaser voice and stuff. So that sounded really cool. So. Yeah, so that's it. So 2 full albums and 2 EPs, and Let Us Pray. So 5 altogether.
So kind of looking back on that body of work, the live stuff and everything like that, what do you think is kind of the overall legacy of the band?
You know what, the band was at the time, whoever came in and out of the band, we were always, unfortunately, Dave and Brian created the sound. Let's face it, those early songs were Quinn and Jamie. And then later on, Dave is probably one of the, if not the main songwriter. And if you ever met Dave is one of the most meticulous people that you ever want to meet. Sometimes want to put his head through a wall, but I know the reason he does it. And being that we were childhood friends, I do understand him. But he is probably one of the greatest guitar players. The problem with the record that follow after Tales of the Soul Gone Mad is the 2 main songwriters with the sound. Having Jamie is, of course, like if Option had a different lineup, it's not going to sound like Option until Steve sings into it. So the music sounds slightly different, but the singer plays an intricate part. And the reason those records worked is because once Jamie sang, then it sounded like Burial Ground. But music-wise, no, it was different. It was night and day from somebody who writes the way Dave and Brian does to the later guitar players, which they were good at what they did, but they didn't have the Burial Ground sound.
Yeah, there was definitely a very unique sound.
They were good records. But Joey listened to about Ripping Corpse and whatever was out in North Jersey, so he wrote in that vein. So that record, I would say, would be Burial Ground's most death metal.
Oh yeah, I was definitely a death metal.
That's a death metal
album, 100%.
And I'm glad. I mean, that record currently doesn't have a release, but we'll work at that sometime in the near future. So. But it's very polarizing. For me to be in there, even the drumming changed. I went from playing more groove to later on. The last time I really played any kind of groove was probably Infernal Punishment. Everything after Joey came in got sped up, and I just reverted back to being a thrash drummer. So, and something I wanted to do anyways. But with Burial Ground was actually neat because I had to play stuff outside my wheelhouse. And I can't, I'm a terrible drummer in every other, and Steve saw it firsthand when I tried out for Option. Chris Conway is absolutely amazing. Tommy's absolutely amazing. And when I tried out for Option, I'm like, I can't play this. I mean, this stuff is all intricate. I can't. I keep my hi-hat that far open, and I just want to beat the shit out of my drums. So, but the sound changed, and that's what happened with Burial Ground. We carried on until 2001. More internal ego and fighting, stuff that you see that looking back is very trivial, but I can't say that's only this band. Every band's gone through it.
Sure.
So that's where we're at. But this record is totally different. This record reflects a bunch of guys who have not hold on to the past, but certainly know what the band's sound was. And that's what was so good about this record, because every riff Dave wrote could have been a follow-up to Let Us Pray. Not that we were trying to chase that. It just comes out naturally like that. So that was actually great. So.
Yeah. What do you think is kind of the overall legacy of the band when you look back on it?
The overall legacy. I said that when I was talking to Mr. Popko last week. Burial Ground, like, was its own thing. Like, back when they were doing what they were doing back in the early '90s, like, no one was doing that.
Yeah.
No one was taking that type of metal guitar hardcore riffs and doing like death metal type vocals over it. There wasn't anybody doing that I knew of. I mean, there may have been somebody in North Jersey or Saskatchewan doing something, but that I knew of that was mainstream. Now a lot of bands are using that, and that's a large portion of a lot of the hardcore and metal and post-hardcore metal stuff that's out there, and but nobody was doing it. Nobody was doing that. So I think, if anything, it was just groundbreaking, and they weren't doing it to try and be groundbreaking. It was just, they were a bunch of kids that loved metal, loved hardcore, and Jamie grew up in North Jersey, or not North, it's like Jersey Shore, Highlands, New Jersey, and there was a pretty decent like death metal scene out there, and he gravitated to it and sounded good doing it. So he's like, well, let's, it's like the chocolate and the peanut butter meeting, it just worked,
Yeah, I mean, Eric Rutan, who plays with Cannibal Corpse now, came from Ripping Corpse, and he's from Highland, New Jersey. So that was that scene out there. That's where Jamie and Joe came from.
Death metal was, but so Jamie brought it into the hardcore scene, and it just worked. You know what I mean? And the cool thing is, obviously we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. You know what I mean? But it's we tried to capture that same spirit, and I think we did a pretty decent job of it. For the
record's cohesive. When you listen to that record, and Let Us Pray. I mean, when people say what's your best record, obviously, being in a band and writing it, I wasn't there for the writing of. So I'll always say Ashes, because the records that follow all the other one, other than Tales, it was patchwork. You have various members. I was just trying so hard to keep the band together.
Yeah.
To the point Jamie stopped booking bands and stuff like that. But this record's different. This record, there's granted there's only 3 songs when we're redoing, but there's just more. There's less people saying, well, we should be doing this. Like in the past, well, we should be doing that. And there isn't any of that. If it's good, we keep it. If it's not, I know it sounds cliche, but it's actually true. Dave sent a couple riffs over, like, me and Steve were like, we're not, that record, maybe we could use it for another song. But what we were doing,
it was the one song that was like a metal. Oh, it was what was it? The riff sounded like something Metallica.
It sounded like Sad But True or something.
No, it was like one of the. It wasn't even a Metallica song, but it was a song that Metallica covered. It was like either Prince or Helpless. Or something. Helpless.
Yeah.
But it sounded very much like that, and we're just like, Dave, that kind of sounds like Helpless, which was a cover song.
And actually, he went home and listened to it, and the next day he told us, yes, it does.
He's like, yeah, that kind of sounds like that.
Yeah, it did yeah. So,
it happens. I remember an earlier memory of Neil when we were playing in the band together. He comes over and he's like, dude, I got this fucking great bass riff, and he starts playing it, and I'm like, hold on, that sounds very familiar. Like, besides like a note missing, and like hold on, started playing it. Turns out it was a Judge song. Like it was almost note for note, and he's like, because he loved Judge. So I mean, it was just subliminally in the back of his head. I'm like, Neil, that's a Judge song. He's like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah, okay, so yeah, we won't use that. But it happens, you know what I mean? It definitely happens. I've had it happen in bands before. We're just like, that's someone else's song. That's like, because it's just in your, you know what I mean?
Sure.
In your head, and it just kind of pops out,
Yeah, I can't wait for Saturday's show when we've had the record now out for about a month, and it's very in your face. And the way Steve delivers his vocal performance, I'm hoping that the kids will just rush the stage and grab the mic off the old man and sing into it. But it has that and I've talked to Steve. I said no offense towards any other bands. I've known Steve for 30 years now, but I was like, you were meant to sing heavier music. All his other band, he had amazing guitar players that's come through the record. Wysocki and all these guys I knew. And drummer wise, it was top to none. But Steve,
I always get lucky with drummers.
I did, But Steve's voice always seemed like, sometimes for me, it was kind of lost in that music because they were more prog. And Steve, this time, especially this time around, when he's singing to that kind of distortion, his voice just fits. It's like a glove. You know, not that anything he did in his past was bad. I just thought some of those songs stick out because Steve would stick out because those guys are trying to be like proggy, more like, you know, prog, you know, instead of just heavy riffs, and where Dave just writes heavy riffs, and Steve's voice really fits in that.
Hold on. Do you take checks, cash, or
Venmo? I take Venmo.
Venmo. All right, got it.
I like I said, I everybody knows. I mean, I tell my friends, I said, cause I've been asked many times, even the people watching the show now, they're like, well, I thought you were never going to do another band. I said, honestly, it's friendship with Dave, but mainly it's because Steve wanted to do it, and Steve has. You know, we are two different people. Me and him probably like about 10% of the same things in common, but our temperaments are very similar. And when you have somebody that you know that you can rely on, I mean, he's flying across the fucking country, 2 times a year, to play this, and he doesn't get paid for it. We're not playing burial ground. You know, like Saturday, I'm actually losing money not bartending to play the
Right.
show. You know, but Steve's got that drive, and I agree with what he said. It just, you know, we were always in the same circle, but we never really sat down and talked one-on-one. And once this had happened and we started corresponding, you know, you realize how well you get along with somebody. You know? And I've known Eric and Dave all my life, but I knew Steve, but at least I hung out with Eric and Dave all the time. I never hung out with him. You know, he had his own band, his own thing. So he really is the X factor for me, anyways, on the record, regardless of how good the music is. You still need a singer to belt out those words. And I think Steve's singing is very different than my singing. I like to fill every riff with as many words as possible, being a metal background. Steve, and looking through his lyrics when I was doing the booklet, before I sent it out to Justin Jarrell, who does the artwork he's a tattoo artist, real talented guy. But even when I was going through Steve's lyrics, I noticed the way Steve sings, he's a singer. He places, I'm a drummer, so I sing like the way I place riffs. So as a drummer, I try to maximize everything. So Steve will sing a song like this and able to make it a song, and he's able to tastefully put this phrase and that phrase in certain crescendos of the song. Whereas me, I just try to fucking squeeze as many songs. Here's all the words. I'm gonna sing it all in like fucking 30 seconds, you know, like DRI, and just get over it. So listening to Steve is fresh, even for me. I've actually learned stuff while being back at Burial Ground. And I always say, you know, I'm a narrow-minded. I like one type of music, not necessarily, you know, just all death metal, but or black metal or whatever. But when you are working with other people, I've actually, and like when Steve, when we're in the studio, every time he says sing here, I would hold out the note, and I got to learn to stop. So now coming the next record on, when Steve says I need your help, you know, just back up here, I've learned to cut the notes. Because on my band, I just keep getting going. I'm like a sideways whale. I just keep fucking going. And Steve
Sonic attack.
Yeah, and Steve's just like, no, that's it. No, you don't have to go that long. So, you know, you learn stuff, and it's actually kind of cool. So I've added stuff in there, and yes, after our recording session, the next couple X songs, I still held out the long notes, but there were certain parts I didn't hold out because I thought of what you said. Like, yeah, you don't need to be.
One of my favorite photographs that we had from the studio that Gene Lucas took. Fantastic photographer.
Pizza delivery guy.
The pizza delivery guy. He took. There's a photo of me and Tommy in the booth, and like he's singing like the back, because I had him do some backups, and I'm going like this. I'm like I'm going like this. Because I'm like cueing him like a conductor. I'm like, whoa, and like,
that's a cool picture.
And that's one of my favorite pictures in the studio. I don't know if I sent that to you, but that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, you did send me that one.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah. So then, no, Tommy actually, like, I think Tommy's voice and mine sound good together. So there was a few parts that we did that, like, where I just had him and I, like the first scream in the Feast Begins part, right, in Ashes, the title track was me and Tommy screaming together, Feast Begins, and I think it just sounds so cool with our voices like mixed together.
He had to shorten that too because I kept going.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm like, no, right here, Feast Begins. That was probably what I was doing too. I was like,
it's a lot of fun.
I had so much fun, and I really look forward to, like, I'm looking forward to rehearsing tomorrow, because like,
right,
we haven't, like, and we were just telling you, like, the 5 of us have not been in the room together.
Correct.
Since this started.
22 years.
We have not been in the room together since that 2004 show. Because we recorded, like, Quinn couldn't make the first session. So we recorded the drums, the bass, and the vocals. Dave and Quinn were going to do their own recording of the guitars, put them together, and then go in and mix it all at Sound Investments. And we went to the second session, and it's day 2, and we're like, it was day 1, and we're sitting there like, okay, me and Tommy are here, and Eric's here, and have you guys heard from Dave? We're like, and then like we get a text, like, and we're like, well, I guess we're just gonna start mixing without him. So we started doing stuff, and we had to do a few vocal things to do and whatnot. And I get a text. He's like, yeah, I'm not coming. I'm like, you're not coming? And he's like, yeah, I got the flu. He's like, I can't. He's like, I can't even think of driving down to the store to get medicine, nonetheless driving 8 hours up to Pennsylvania. So he ended up not coming. Quinn came the next day because he was there for day 2 of the session. So we got to be with Quinn then, and then, we took some photos and hung out and did all the things. But we have not been in the studio together as a unit, or not in the studio, in the room together. So tomorrow, you can watch the Existentialism.
We'll be streaming that.
We'll be streaming our entire rehearsal.
Correct.
So
nice.
So every misstep, every mistake,
I think it'll be fine. I honestly think it'll be fine.
You get to see all the dirt.
Well, since we're talking about the recording and everything, and you guys, the Burial Ground had previously recorded at SI Studios, right? Because SI has been around.
That's all
forever.
we ever recorded at.
Yeah. So there's such
they're
a long
local,
history.
they're home, and I've recorded with Joe Wiggy since 1995, and
Wow.
I actually found out about them through Dave, because I think because all the bands recorded with us.
Yeah, well,
in the 90s.
we were our first demo, the Option Not Forgotten 91 demo, was recorded with Cliff down in I say it was in like Pittston or Avoca or Old Forge. It was down in Old Forge in his basement. We recorded that then, and then Chris Conway's older brother Kevin was involved in like a lot of the local bands, and he's like, go to the studio down in Scranton. It's above Giannetta's Music. Sound Investments, and we recorded the Option Stoneface demo there, and ever since that we're just like, yeah, these are our guys. These are our guys. These are who we're going to. We strayed once, and we regretted it. We recorded we did a 7-inch comp for 717 Records and recorded the song Perfect there. And it was far from perfect. So recorded at another studio, and that guy was cool and all, but it didn't fit our sound. Like Wiggy and Tom, like really, and I just love spending time with those guys. That was one of the things I was so excited about. I'm like, I get to fucking hang out with Tom Borthwick. Yeah. I love Tom Borthwick. He's such a funny guy, and he cracks me up. He always likes to come up with alternative lyrics to the songs.
He does that for every band.
He does that
shit he came up with X.
Oh man, but he's just great.
He sits up in the control booth. He hears us sing, and then we're like, "Oh, what did you just say?"
Yeah, my favorite Tom Borthwickism is that song's more watertight than a frog's asshole.
So we do a little segment called the Breakdown, where we go track by track on an artist's latest release. You could talk about whatever you think is kind of the most interesting, the inspiration or the story behind the song, like the lyrics or the writing of it, or whatever you want to talk about. Okay. So the new EP, Ashes from the Human Flame, was released on June 5th on all major streaming platforms, and it's also on CD, right? You guys,
we are going to be released. This actually Hardcore for Husvar.
Yes,
is our actually our record release show. We got like a limited edition because we don't even know who has. If anybody still buys physical media these days, I
like to have a physical copy.
So, there are people that do it. Like I reached out to I feel like the old man because I'm talking to the one kid from Still Won't Break. He's my finger on the pulse guy. I'm like, hey, do kids still like buying CDs these days? And so I reached out to him, and he's like, yeah, people still buy physical media CDs, 7 inches, not as much, but that band's cool too. Still won't break. They're gonna be playing at the show on Saturday, so make sure to get there early because they're playing early. Anyways.
We might do vinyl in the future, but for now it's just CDs.
We're releasing 100 CDs, and that they're going to be available at the show. Once they're gone, they're gone.
Fair enough. All right, so the opening track is the title track, "Ashes from the Human Flame," and you did talk a little bit about that, but maybe you could talk a little bit about like the meaning behind the song, the lyrics, that sort of thing.
Actually, ironically enough, it was inspired by my children. My daughter's over there doing the human flame right now. It's basically, the song is about how, as a society, we are just walking around bumping into each other, not paying attention to each other, looking down on a phone, and you don't even realize life's happening around you. You know what I mean? Like it's just like we're like a bunch of zombies. Just that's why. And I also and the track itself, I started the track off with I actually recorded a ding from my cell phone. So the ding starts off the zombie horde, and then the zombie horde starts off the song and whatnot. So I did that for 2 reasons. 1, because I thought it was symbolic, but 2, I wanted to do the old pay a little tribute to Andy Kaufman. You know what I mean? Like, remember the whole thing with make the TV, you know what I mean? Like, what make the TV, why is the TV doing that? So I want everybody, when they're listening to the album, that album comes on, or if they're in a mix and they hear that ding, I want them to go, oh, and check their phone. So it's my little tribute to Andy Kaufman in there.
But like a Pavlov.
Right,
Pavlovian response.
Right.
Yep.
And the worst part is, it gets me every time. It gets me every time. I'm like, oh, God damn it! And I don't even have my phone on not on silent. Yeah. But it still gets me. I'm like, God damn it! So, anyways, so that's just basically about. It's basically about how we're just walking around, and you could be in the room with somebody, and not know them because you're talking to somebody that a faceless icon from 3,000 miles away. Yet there's somebody right next to you, like we're and you just don't connect with them because you're here and you're not here.
Right.
So, but that's what Ashes from the Human Flame is about. It's we all live to feed.
And that's like a totally new song that you guys.
Yeah, that song was 2 weeks old. It was comprised of 4 riffs, actually 5. 1 we threw out, and
I love that one.
About a week, not even a week later, we're recording that studio. That was the most impulsive record. That song did not have a lot of wait time because we didn't have time to reflect on that song. That song was instantaneous, and actually that came out. Even the breakdown and everything else like that. It was, I think, was actually Steve's suggestion. That one part that changed. I think Dave just kept going, and Steve says, "Can't you just hold out a chord?" And I just put a basic double bass pattern behind it, and it actually fit, leading up into. It just worked. Everything just kind of fell into place because we didn't know if we were going to record that song. Correct.
And that's my favorite song off the record.
Correct.
And I didn't even know if we were going to record it. And we went into Tommy's basement and we're just banging it out. And we're just like, all right, I'm like, wait, stop here. And then okay, and it just the way it ended up like working. And they're like, okay, let's do that. And then we just did it. Went in the studio, recorded it. And it came out.
Dave always comes up with the goods. I mean, Dave, he just sent over a file. He's got a lot of new stuff coming up.
Oh my God, some of that new stuff is fantastic.
It is. I think what Dave is Dave sometimes can be a little indecisive on where he has an idea of where the song's going to go, but he can't physically manifest it. And I think that's especially on this record because Brian wasn't here for the writing session of it. Brian, obviously, you guys know, he's in Canada. He was in Candlebox. He just released his new solo album. Yeah. So he's on club tour. So he's a busy guy,
Yeah.
But Dave has the good. But this time, like I said, this time was very different because I had Steve to be able to input at the same time. Because I always arrange songs with Dave, which is not a problem. But having an extra voice and gives it like kind of a dynamic. So I think because the lyrics were pretty much done, and it's just the way Steve wants to belt it out. But yeah, this record barely had had time to bed down, it was already recorded. And it's a strong song, and it's kind of weird. We could write every song in that short span of time. Jesus Christ, we'd have an album done in about 2 months. You know?
But yeah, one of the things I do though when I'm helping these guys write, like I can't play guitar. You know, I said I tried playing bass for a little while, and it just, you know, I was okay and whatever, you know, and I just kind of gave it up and became the singer. And what I do is when I'm listening to the song, when I'm listening to what they're doing, I'm looking at it from standing in a crowd and being in, you know, being a fan of the song, you know what I mean? Being a fan of the music and what I want to hear as, you know, all right, a breakdown here, or there's going to be a fast part here, you know what I mean? Like I go by more of the feeling that I want to hear and what I would see live at a show, you know, because I've been to so many thousands of shows. Jesus Christ, you know, like there's been, you know, that's what we did for years. That's all we did was go to hardcore shows. And so just to try and capture the energy that could potentially be at the show, I would try and steer the song in that direction. And I think we did that really well with Ashes, and then even reworking well, we'll get on to the next song or the other song, but yeah, another song we did too. We did a similar rework for that.
I was gonna say the next song is "Cult of Death."
That one was a lightning speed. Dave that's the first song he sent over. That song had way better in time. That song was already 3 months old by the time we got together, jammed it into physical form. I think Steve had expressed that he wanted maybe a different speed to it, and Dave had reached out to me, and Dave really wanted to fight for that one to be at more of a singular speed. Steve was able to put what he wanted, his parts in there, but like I said, this is very different than in the past. Is like I said, once again, it sounds cliche maybe because we're older, but because when Dave talked to me, he goes, I really just want this to be fast and one speed. And by the time we got back to Steve and the lyrics and stuff like that, and he came back with that, Steve's like, I think we should have like a chill part into it. And it was, Dave pretty much got what he wanted with Cult, but it was by no means like if Steve wasn't happy or if I wasn't happy with something, this isn't the past where we sit home and brew about it. We just, throw it out. You know, it's very, very democratic. And like I said, all this stuff is cliche because you really do. I wish I learned this stuff when I was at that age. You know, because back then I would throw home and be like, fuck him. You know, he didn't want to do this part, like, what an asshole, instead of like, yeah, you know, I mean, there was a song where Dave actually left, and it was not Flowers, but Iron Lung, which we'll talk about, and Dave actually did leave for the night, and he came back, remember he had to go to the store to get something for the night, and he literally just left, he left me, Steve, and Eric standing there, we're like, are we going to continue this, you know, so, but Dave really wanted to fight for that one. He wanted that one to be out the gates and blistering, and this time around is very different too, because Dave is, as a guitar player, he has a drum program, so he actually programmed drums for it. And I always find it funny because as a drummer, and now as a guitar player, I finally understand there's a drummer count and a guitar player count. The shit that he sends me, I was like, it's good, but you're counting as a drummer, as a guitar player again. So I'll take it. And you know what Dave is, he said, dude, it's just an idea. So I actually took his ideas and I made it more organic. I made it more make sense. Like the original, during the singing of Cult of Death, the double bass is extremely busy. And that's good when I'm like, if that would be good if I was an upcoming band and I want to showcase that I could play the drums and stuff like that. But when you hear it with the original drum track with Steve singing it, the double bass is so busy, I don't know what the fuck he's singing. Because it's just like... It
didn't have room to breathe.
Yeah, it didn't have room to breathe. The original one goes... And I'm like, mine is... And then I add the double bass to accent it. And so that's where the difference is. Dave gets a little happy when he's programming. I'm like, dude, you're putting... And this is coming from a guy who likes playing metal. I was like, that's way too many beats. You got to keep... I come from like the Dave Lombardo school. If it needs it, I'll do it. But... And now, being a full band... I really appreciate the singer much more. Not that I did in the past, but
yeah,
some bands I listen to now, I'm like, man, that singer, that poor fucking singer. These guys are like here, I'll give you a Dream Theater. They're so good, and then suddenly they're like, yeah, this part sucks. Here, why don't you sing over this part? And I hate Dream Theater's vocals, anyways. But that guy is like a third wheel. He gets to sing when everybody from Berkeley School, fucking music school, gets to play their shit. They're like, yeah, by the way, this part is, we're not doing anything this part. Yeah, sing a couple lines, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate the singing more. So, going coming into that drum had that song had a 3 months bedding. I started getting stuff down right around October, actually.
Yeah, that was one of the first things he sent to me. Yeah. I set up this little studio in my house and I started recording vocals over it. And it's funny because originally I had sent him, like, the way I did the vocals for Cult of Death, I did more of a singy scream over the chorus. And Dave's like, I don't know, that sounds too much like your other bands. It doesn't sound, it's not Burial Ground. I'm like, okay. And so then I went to a more of a growly shouting chorus, and he's like, he comes back a few months later, he's like, maybe you could try singing over that again. I was just like, all right, whatever, man. You know, I'm down to try whatever. And we ended up doing that, and ended up making the final cut on the record because I did 2 different ways. I sent him 2 different things. I'm like, here's the screamy sing, and here's the screamy scream. And he's like, I like the screamy sing. I like the screamy. So we just kind of figured out in the studio, and I did it in the studio, and they're like, yeah, okay, that's a keeper, you know. And we ended up keeping it. But yeah, he's right. Like Dave, I wanted a breakdown in the middle. I thought the song would have benefited from having like a like in the middle part. And Dave's just like, he's like, I just want a song to just drive the entire time. I'm like, all right, you know what? Fuck it, let's do it. And it came out good. It's a good song. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it, and that it definitely has a place, and it definitely makes the album not feel monotonous. Right. You know, because you'll get a lot of hardcore bands that, like, every song is the same tempo, and you know, and like you don't know if you're listening to song number 1 or song number 5 on the album. And but with that, I think that breaks up the album a little bit, and gives it a little different, because the other 2 songs are slow, sludgy, you know, driving Burial Ground songs, and then that one, you know, it's not a happy song, Cult of Death, but it's more up, you know.
Yeah, if you listen to Let Us Pray, as it's integral and as important that record is, being a drummer, I can tell you everything. The first 4 songs, Josh plays the same drum beat. It's the same. It's da da da. Well, he uses that beat in Abducted. He used that beat in Prozac, and he used that beat in War. That time he broke away from that was Crown of Thorns. That's why I did that. Oh, yeah. One. But once you learn Rebirth, you could actually learn the other 3. That's what he's talking about. So with Cult, you kind of we broke it because it's the second song, so you break it up right off the bat. Not saying we're not doing that Burial Ground song, because I love playing those kind of beats, but nobody ever realized. Next time you listen to Let Us Pray, if you go put it on, the first 4 drums, it's the exact fills, the exact beat. It's the exact everything. And that's fine, because that record is intricate.
It worked.
Correct.
Sure, yeah.
It worked, and it made sense at the time, you know?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. But yeah, nothing was broken up until Crown of Thorns. and then after that is what California Uber Alice, Tap in the Vein, and Clung to. That's why I Clung to the Tube stuck out, because that was more like a thrash song. So.
Next up we have Iron Lung.
Yeah.
That song is from 1996. That was during the time we wrote Tales as well. Jamie was enamored with his girlfriend. It was called Flowers. The original cover was supposed to be Kathy. I don't know if Kathy's ever going to watch this, but it's a picture of Kathy holding dandelions, a flower, whatever it is, and you name it Flowers, and on the opposite side we're supposed to distort Kathy so she looks like a demon, and everything. And listen, we're all young and we chase girls and this and that, but Jamie was really hard with that, so it's called Flowers, and we actually wrote that song. We played it. There was an intro that got chopped. Most of the song.
Well, first of all, I'm not going to sing a song about Jamie's girlfriend holding flowers. Yeah. Not that we knew what Jamie was saying, but even if we found the lyrics to it somehow, I'm not singing about Jamie's girlfriend. I'll sing about his drug addiction, and I'll sing about, you know, the aliens that he saw, you know. But yeah, I'm definitely I'm going to draw the line at singing about his girlfriend, you know. That's so fair. I was like, well, let's rework the song, and we definitely reworked it. We used the foundation was there. We just kind of cleared all the superfluous stuff and just rebuilt it. And
Brian added the beginning riff. He added an underlining melody that did not exist in the original song.
Oh yeah, that Brian brought that into the studio, and I was like, oh my god, that's amazing. I wanted something, because I was trying to tell Dave, I'm like, Dave, we need to do something over the beginning part to separate it. And Brian brought it in. It was awesome. But anyways, lyrically, I wanted to kind of write about.
Yeah, what's Call of Death about? We didn't talk about the lyrics.
Yeah, well, that's. Well, let me go here first. We'll go back there in a minute. Lyrically, I wanted to kind of pay tribute to Jamie in it. So that's why I called it Iron Lung. I was originally going to call it The Ballad of the Iron Lung, but I was like, that's a little too much. But I wanted to kind of keep the vein of, just basically about Jamie to some extent. I mean, it's got there's all sorts of hidden subtext in there that, that I kind of threw in there and I actually used a lot of words that are in Burial Ground songs, like Crown and War and like what the hell is other
My mind.
Yeah, this is my mind. There was a bunch of like little like nods to the album in there. I tried to kind of craft it in there, but yeah, I really wanted to do a song kind of as a tribute to Jamie without being like, oh Jamie, you're so cool, But yeah, it was I really like the way that one came out. It's definitely got a sing along vibe to it, So hopefully,
it definitely does.
Hopefully that happens.
It does. It goes right into In Your Face.
Yeah. But yeah.
And you wanted to mention something about
No,
Cult of Death?
I was actually, we didn't get to talk about the lyrics to Cult of Death.
Oh yeah, sure.
It's just about people using religion to justify killing people. You know what I mean? Like it's just basically
literally a tale as old as time.
Yeah, it literally is. And just any whatever my religion is so much better than yours, I will kill you.
That's the church calling rule. Do you believe in God? No. Boom. Do you believe in God? Yes. Do you believe in God? My God? No. Boom.
Yeah.
My God's got a bigger dick than your God. Yeah.
Yep. Classic, Carlin.
Carlin, the best.
Yeah.
And so the last one on there is Forever Friends.
Yeah,
and that's the one that has Jamie's vocals on.
So that's been a labor of love for Dave for many, many years. I remember him sending me that song.
30 years.
Yeah, for a long time. So they wrote that song back in
96,
and they played it twice. And one of the times recorded on a soundboard. The soundboard recording was crap. The only thing that came through was the drums and the vocals. And so Dave's like, you know what? He had it on a cassette tape somewhere. And when Jamie passed, he was going through some stuff, and he's like, "Oh, here's Forever Friends." And Dave's like a
collector.
Not a collector, but he's also a genius. And he's very engineer type person. You know what I mean? He's like,
eccentric.
Eccentric. Yeah. And he said, I'm going to hold on to this because I know technology will catch up to the point where I'm going to be able to do something with it. And he's like, you know what? It's time. He's like, let's do this. So basically what he did was he used AI to pull Jamie's vocals, the isolated track, out of the song. And we basically went in the studio with Wiggy and figured out the exact timing. And then Tommy, which he did not like doing this, he had to play to a click track. Tommy hates click tracks,
I hate it.
But he did really well. I'm very proud of him.
That was actually the first time I used a click track. In the past, they had asked me to use a click track. I said, get fucked. Unlike Yannick Gers of Maiden, he stands in his own booth. Because Yannick doesn't play the click track, so the rest of the band, when Iron Maiden records, they're all in their individual booth except for Dave Murray and Adrian Smith, and then you have Bruce and Nico and then Steve. Well, Yannick gets his own because he doesn't play it on click track, so he has to follow what the other 5 are doing. The other 5 are on a click track. He won't. And I'm the same way. I hated it. That was actually the hardest song for me to do, was that first one. Once I got the click and I understood it, I just... And Wiggy's great because he said I could put Care Bear sounds in your ear if you want. It doesn't have to be a cowbell. Yeah. But in the end, I just settled with the cowbell because it's just cold. Let's just get it there. Yep. But yeah, he's like, I can make fart sounds. They could be a constant fart in your ear.
Oh, that would have been fun.
Yeah, I didn't want that. But yeah, playing the click track was the hardest. That was great. Trying to get Jamie's vocal and they basically recorded the song. So they figured out the time, and then they put the click to it, and then they basically played each part and like basically Frankenstein the entire thing together. Wow. We threw some backing vocals over it, and in the beginning part I did a little bit of accents because his vocals were a little bit distorted in the beginning because they had to kind of like play with them a little bit. So I like he says, like my mind, my heart, our minds, our heart. Like I just did it
along with him to kind of like solidify it a little bit. But other than that, that's all Jamie. That's all the Iron
Actually,
Lung.
you were so good at that. I forgot who reached out. They said, who's doing the talking passage underneath? Because I knew you did it, and they said it sounded like Jamie. It was like the ghost of Jamie when you did that part.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize somebody reached out on, I think it was, I had to look, it's like Instagram, somebody had emailed, they're like, yo, Forever Friend, that's Jamie White. And I was like, it was an old listener. I was like, yeah. They're like, who's doing the, because I hear like two vocals. I was like, well, that's Steve Goldman, that's Steve Option. He goes, well, tell him he sounds like Jamie. I was like, I knew he did it because I was there when he did it, but I didn't, I mean, for me, I was around Jamie all the time, but I didn't realize, and then after he said that, I went to listen, I was like, wow, he's right, you actually do sound like Jamie.
Yeah, I was trying to kind of, like, I was just kind of mimicking his inflection when he was, when he was doing it, to try and just kind of make it sound more solid, because it was very, like, wobbly, you know what I mean? But we obviously had to have the part in there, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it ended up coming out great, and I said, like I said before, so many people were working on it. I sent it to a bunch of people, and everybody's like they're like chills, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So many times, and Kristen loves it that I said this.
Did she think it was a girl doing your backup? She thought I was a chick.
Yeah.
Because my voice is higher. You don't want to sing it next, but I remember him telling me, he's like, by the way, you're a chick. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, Kristen thought, oh my God, there's a girl. I thought that was a girl singing.
But yeah, she I sent the song out to a bunch of like close friends, and most of the time I'd get back, I'm not crying, you're crying, like, because it was just so it was such an emotional thing, because like Jamie meant a lot of people, and he and his untimely passing was hard for all of us, and but yeah, everybody that heard it was just like, I don't even know if I'm ready to listen to this. I don't, like, it's almost like, eerie.
I did get revenge on Dave because he made me play kind of click track. If you listen to the outro of Forever Friends, the double bass one, that was supposed to be that fast. It's all supposed to be dun, 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 dun. Well, since he pissed me off by making it with click track, I decided to do this. It's a time and a half faster than War Ensemble by Slayer. So I purposely did that at the end just so he would have to catch up. And he knows that because I fucking told him that we recorded. I was like, for making me play kind of click track, fuck you, go play that, So, and it actually came out really well because people were like, I don't remember that end. Like the few people heard, I thought the end is just more.
Yeah.
And I didn't. I said, fuck it.
It sounds like a machine gun.
And that was my whole idea. Yeah, exactly. Because they're like, you're going to play that song live? I was like, no. I was like, we don't know. I would never play that song live.
That song's off limits. That song's, that song's not going to be played live.
It's like a holy grail.
Yeah. It's the, unless Jamie, for some reason, arises from the ashes.
Yeah, well, we have to sit down and listen to the lyrics because I don't know what the fuck he's saying.
Yeah. But that song's not going to be played live.
Well, coming into this, not just for the recording, but also like the reunion you did last year, now this show this year, are you trying to channel his vocals and kind of sing like him, or are you kind of putting your own spin on it, or like what's your take on that, your approach?
I'm doing me. Like I'm singing my own style. I keep him in the back of my mind. I keep thinking, but in the same token, there are some things like I'm trying to learn a song that we're gonna play, and well, not trying. I've learned it that I hadn't played before with Burial Ground. Tales.
Oh, that's right. You never sang Tales.
I never sang Tales before, right. And just some of his vocal patterns, I just can't get down. Like I'm like, he's like, he'll start a word and then like quickly go into another word, and like I'm just like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? So I'm trying to make it a little more my style, more cohesive. And like Tommy says, I like to let things breathe, And so I'm not trying to. I don't want to. I'm not gonna try and be Jamie. I'm gonna try and do. Let's just say it like this. I try and do what I think Jamie would like to hear.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna try and would Jamie listen to that and go, dude, it's fucking cool. I like it. Then yes, that's what I'll do, But I tried to use a lot of, like, one of Burial Ground's biggest hooks is the sing-alongness. The two most popular songs Burial Ground has is Rebirth and Prozac. My mind, my mind, my mind, my mind. You know what I mean? Like, it's just repetitive. So that's why I kind of went with when in Ashes, like and live to feed. It's just over feed. I want it to be like people up front going feed, and I just feel like Jamie would like that. Like Jamie would appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be Jamie in any way, shape, or form. I'm even clearing up my psoriasis.
But I know where he's coming from, because when I joined the band, I had every song, the 2 songs I wrote with them, Flowers and Tales. We had a joke, and it was on the sheet. I had to Josh it. Josh is the original drummer. Josh Holt, a great kid. And they when I played a song back then, I'm always a thrash beat drummer, and they left me a note on a sticky pad. They said Josh it. So I would actually have to, like Tales, original one, it's so I actually used Josh's blueprint for Tales. Now, have we written Tales today? I wouldn't have used that. But back then, like what he's doing, like he has been with the band pretty much since the beginning. But now he has to think in the vein of Jamie. I don't have to anymore, because I actually lasted more than anybody in the band, so I just put my own style in there. But in the beginning, there was posted. I posted it myself, and it said Josh it. So whenever we were writing, like even when we recorded, I put a post. We had a post, it would say Josh it. So when we were doing Tales, now the other day was the first time I played Tales in its entirety in a long time after you guys re-uploaded it, and I noticed that is actually a bridge. I play a lot of Josh fills in that. And same thing with the original Flowers. There was a lot. This time when we recorded into Iron Lung, I actually took it out. Dave was the one that made me unjosh it. Because it was supposed to be... He told me to take that out, so I did. So I just kept... Now it's... It's 2 notes, and the Josh part is gone. And I didn't get rid of it. Dave did. He's like, yeah, that's a little too much. And I'm like, but that's how I originally played it. So that's where Steve's gonna have to come into his own. I've had more time to bed down for it, but honestly, just him singing for the 2004, and then this one, Steve will be fine. He's been in the band. He was in there when they were recording. I mean, Steve was in Barry One before I was. He was there let us pray. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's fine. I honestly, it's 2 different styles of singing, but Steve fits what the band is doing. That's what I'm trying. Like his voice fits. But he's a good singer.
I definitely tried to get more growls and more like guttural.
But you have that natural ability. Like your music, I always told you, and I still tell you today, and I said, hey, your voice is made for more of treble.
Yeah.
Your voice is made for that treble. Your other bands, though good, you sometimes stuck out because those guys are trying to be Dream Theater while you're trying to, guys, and they made you.
I'm trying to hardcore it.
Yeah, they made you go into that loop and stuff because of the stuff they were writing.
Right.
So we're just downstroking, and Dave will be on C, D, E, F. I don't know what the fuck he's on.
We should mention the cover art too. I'll put that up on the screen so people can check it out and see it there. Who did the artwork?
Justin Jarrell. He actually knew Jamie years ago in down Florida. He knew Brett. That's the guy's name.
Brett Hunter.
Brett Hunter. That's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
And
Ian Hunter's coming to the show. Actually, Ian's his brother.
I haven't seen Ian in decades. And they were actually friends. He actually knew Jamie down there. And he had reached out to re-release Infernal Punishment and Sentence Pass. And I got him to do the cover of Let Us Pray, which never had a proper cover except a red sheet of paper with something swamp, they called it.
Yeah,
whatever the hell it is. And Justin turns out artwork within 48 hours, and he is DIY. I'm trying to get him money. He doesn't want any of it. He runs make sure you give him a shout out. I mean, I forgot the name of his tattoo shop, but his name's Justin Jarrell. He does great artwork. He does illustration. He's not just stuff on digital. He actually illustrates stuff. And so even when
he sent us a sketch of because we gave him the concept. I told him, okay, we're calling Ashes of the Human Flame. I basically described what the song was about, like I just did for you guys, and I said basically I want a zombie holding an iPhone, and the world's coming down around him, and that's what he gave us.
That's what you got.
By the way, I don't think we've really announced this yet, but the zombie does have a name.
Oh yes. Barry L.
Ground. Barry L ground. So it's like
mascot, yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like
well, you're not a real
Eddie.
metal
It's
band
like,
until you have
it's
a
like Eddie
mascot,
from
right?
Iron Maiden. Barry L. Brown.
Who's the one in Megadeth? Mary Jane? Or something?
No, that's Vic Rattlehead.
Vic Rattlehead.
Vic Rattlehead. But we have an official mascot. He hopefully we'll bring him back for the next album somewhere. We'll
I'll go to Spencer's gift shop and just get a skeletal thing and deck it out, and they'll be burying the stage.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, so since you have we're expecting more to come out of this
This
was
isn't
a
a
good
one-time
enough
thing. I think everybody's pretty much on board, and everybody's really happy to where the band is. Everybody has normal lives, except for Brian. Brian, one of the best things from Brian was getting fired from Burial Ground. He built a career out of it,
He's a musician.
Correct.
We play music.
Correct.
He's a musician.
Brian is full-time music, where all of us have jobs and some of us have families and lives. And no, this is not a one-time thing. This will continue. We already started demoing. Like I said, the other day, last night, on my desktop, I was getting the studio ready for the guys, and I just had all the riffs in the background playing. We are going to do a full length. It'll be a third full length. I'm looking at scheduling wise because it's with Steve, but what's good with technology to send it back and forth. I would say probably the same thing as last year. Probably I say around January we'll have a good reconvene. Plus, I have a place for our next release party, and you know him. He told me to tell you, he said hi, and that's Vinny from the V Spot.
Oh yeah.
So and the pre-show will be there. Make sure you guys show up at the V Spot.
Oh yeah, pre-show
Friday.
tomorrow. Not tomorrow. What's today? I'm so confused on what day it is right now.
Today's Wednesday.
I've been traveling
Wednesday,
and
Yeah, it's coming up this Friday.
Friday, yep.
So he told me to tell you. I talked to Vinny before I came here. So and Vinny, I've known Vinny. I hired him. He worked for me many years. Actually, there's funny. Oh, well, I don't know if you know Alan O'Neill. Al. He passed away recently. He's 52. But we grew up together in high school, and Vinny was coming down for an interview, and Alan calls me an hour before, and he goes, "Yo, a guy's gonna come down called Vince. His name's Vince Archer." I go, "Okay." He goes, "If you don't hire him, you're a fucking idiot." And he hung up the phone. So I hired him. That's how I met Vinny, and he worked for me for like 5-6 years. Great guy.
But so in answer to your question, yes, we're going to do another.
Excellent.
That's the plan. So and hopefully Quinn will have some more time, and we'll actually be in the writing process tomorrow. We're gonna rehearse the set, but we're also gonna try and see if we could sneak in a little bit of writing while we're here, while we're all in the room together. But yeah, it's and we're not going on tour. We're not doing anything. We're just doing this because we love it. We're just doing it because it's fun. We'll play show. Like if our opportunity, somebody's like, "Hey, can you guys come out and play this festival or come out and play this?" And we can make it work, sure, we'll play it. But we're not going to be actively looking for shows. We'll play when we can. We can make it happen. You know what I mean? If somebody wants us to play,
we're all pretty happy and stable in our lives. We're not looking into this as we're shopping for a record label. We're gonna go do this and do that. It's none of that. It's actually 5 guys texting on the phone like, "What are we doing?" "Okay, we're doing this," and that's it.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I never thought that I'd be at this age singing in a metal hardcore band.
Remember you retired last year on stage?
I retired last year on stage. Yeah, I'm like, this is it. I'm done. And then I was like, you know what? I got the itch. Let's make some more music. And so here we are. We have an album, and we're playing a show, and hopefully it'll be
it's different because there's no pressure.
There's no pressure. There's no pressure. Right. Like we don't owe anything to anybody.
Nothing.
You know what I mean? Except for ourselves. So we're doing it. It's self-gratifying. But we're doing it for ourselves. And if people like it, great. If they don't, great.
It doesn't change.
It doesn't change what we're doing. And the same thing when Burial Ground started and did their own thing. They're just doing what they wanted to do. They wanted to make this kind of music. Well, we want to make this kind of music.
Back then, we chased for a label, but you all did at that age. I mean, which band didn't want to sign back then, And then now you realize what the music business is a nightmare.
Yeah.
So, even opening bands. Actually, one of the coolest part is going back to Iron Maiden. They're the only national act that doesn't charge to open a band to play with them. Steve Harris will bring you on tour. Yep. He told Rod Smallwood, "Do not charge these bands." And what is shitty about the music business? There's a lot of shitty things about the music business, but one of the worst things is when you open for the band anymore, you have to pay the band. That's fucking disgraceful. But that's the way I feel.
That's awful. I did not know this.
Yep.
Yeah, people like buy on to
that's
packages and things
right.
like that. It's
It's like modern cars. You buy a car for full price, but you have to pay the price for all that monthly subscription for your apps for your car.
Right.
So what the fuck did I buy this car for then?
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
they say it's your car, but that feature you have, it ends at the end of the month, and you're like, and that's what the music business is. Oh yeah, you want to be there, you have to pay for this and that, and also bands have to buy their merch completely out in full. It's not like an advance, and you can sell that for. That's why bands are selling T-shirts for $40. They have to recoup.
Yeah.
I mean, T-shirts. I mean, we're in the business too, and T-shirts cost about $5-6. You're charging $35, and I understand that now. So if you really like the band, support it. But that's the problem with the music business is the people in the suits don't want to cough up money anymore.
Yeah.
So you want to go with that band, that's fine. They're gonna tell you have to pay, like, your guarantee is like, let's say you're an upcoming band label, your guarantee is $1,000, and you go on tour, you still have to pay the headlining band $500. Even though you'll get your guarantee, that means you cut your guarantee in half because you have to pay the fucking main band just to play, open up for them. Right? That's disgraceful.
It's insane.
That's literally is pay to play.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
So before we get into hardcore for Husvar and kind of remember last year, get into this year and what you guys have planned, we got tons of comments, and we want to make sure that we get to some of those. Summer, have you been seeing any? Have you keeping track of some of these?
There's a lot of intermingling in the comments.
Okay, well that's a good thing.
Which is great.
Yeah, you guys socialize.
Yeah.
Have fun.
I forgot to charge my phone. My telecast is already off, so that's fine.
But yeah, if you could, I don't know if you see some highlights or of questions or kind of standout comments or anything.
Yeah, I do. We'll start off in the beginning.
Me and Steve are not going to hold hands, okay? Just get that out of the way.
We got a Tommy, you're the fucking man. And a Woo Tyrant.
Yeah. Thank you.
And then I think it goes.
I should let you guys do this. I'm going to take a piss. We'll be right back.
Sure.
There's a, look at them drummer legs.
Hey,
Well, this
when
one's
you're our
good.
age, you gotta go. You gotta go.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely. Oh, people they get nervous about doing that during the podcast. Like the last episode, we had the guest here, and she's like, "Well, I don't want to go in front of the cameras." And I was trying to tell her, "We got the one up there, so that you don't have to worry about that." She gets down on all fours and starts crawling across the floor, so that the cameras would get her. Meanwhile, the webcam at the top there is just filming the entire thing, watching her do this, and we're all just dying about it. It's just like, what? I'm like, we'll tell you when you get back. Just go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Call it PCAM.
Yeah.
We got I'm always here for the rants. The Tommy rants.
Oh yeah.
That was a big thing. I'm trying to find the comment because there was a part where they all started asking questions. That's a good question. What do we not know? From it's Mr. Bam and stuff.
What do we not know?
What do we not know? That's the question.
I don't know.
We don't know about that question, so we don't
All I know is that I don't know nothing.
And somebody said how much Lars sucks.
There's a lot of Lars hate in the world.
Yeah, there is.
Color of his boxers today. Where's yes, that's one. Ask how comfortable the couches are, but then down below they specifically wanted your answer first. Well, they specifically said ask you, and I was like, okay, we'll ask you first.
Well, the couch is comfortable. I'm just old, so I have to move around a lot because you gotta adjust. But they're pretty comfortable.
Yeah, they're not. They're not too bad.
I could sleep here.
Yeah,
Actually, I'm short, so I have to keep adjusting because they keep sliding down.
Yeah.
Personally, I think they look more plush than they feel.
Yeah.
They're all right, but yeah, they're okay.
Yeah.
Can we ask Steve how comfortable the couches are? They didn't want to leave you out.
And I think Kristen at one point.
Oh boy.
Can't ignore the voice of reason.
Okay.
As much as we'd all like to.
That's an old Option song.
Actually, by the way, I lost it, but I should have had the original Stone Face record.
The demo?
Yeah, the cassette.
Nice.
I actually have it.
We got Steve is amazing. Feeling, but they typed feeling. Some big shoes.
Yes.
And a Go Steve.
Go Steve.
Go Steve. And then we got a bunch of colorful drawings in there. I did like one of the last ones too. Oh. Tommy's bladder has left the chat, and then Tommy's bladder has re-entered the chat. I really like this one from Kristen. The passion for this music is so obvious, and I think that from this conversation, that's very true.
Yeah.
That's about all I can recall that was specific. I don't know if you see anything else.
Yeah, Kristen said something about walking through Walmart. I'm not really.
She wants us to tell the Jamie story, huh?
Ah.
So yeah, apparently, Jamie shit his pants in Walmart. Yeah, like, dude, I fucking shit my pants in Walmart.
Forgot about that story.
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm not quite sure how it came about or how it resulted, but that's one of the stories that Kristen loves to tell and talk about is Jamie shitting his pants in Walmart. Dude. Jamie's very very imitatable though. He's definitely he had a very very unique
Distinct voice,
and you know.
He was actually funny when I was working at Fleet Bank. He has an account with Fleet. You know, that's where his cuckoo checks go.
His cuckoo checks, yeah.
And he used to call me at the customer service line, and I had an extension. And we're allowed a stipend. If a customer gets irate on the phone, you could actually give the money back without the floor manager. You can refund them like $25. And Jamie would call me 4 times a month just so he could get $100. And I'd be like, okay, Mr. White, can I verify? And I still remember the headset on, and I said, okay. He goes, yeah, you guys ripped me off. And I was like, okay, well, I could give you a 25. I gave him $100 a month. They used to call me a Fleet Man. We did that for years.
Oh man.
Yep.
Yeah, now you're going to jail.
Statute of limitations gone.
Yeah.
And it's Fleet Bank. They're in England. They don't give a shit about us.
Right. So how much is that in pounds? No.
21.5 pounds.
But yeah, what were we talking about? Sorry.
Taking a shit at Walmart.
Old man. Oh yeah, Jamie
shitting his brain at Walmart.
Shit at Walmart. Yeah, Jamie. He was very, very, like I said, he was very, very imitatable. Very, very unique character. But
he really was. You know, I mean, every band goes through a good time, bad time, but he really was a character.
Oh, I do. There is actually one of that just popped into my head. So one year for Halloween, I dressed up as him. And I went down. He was working at the Steamtown Mall, and my ex-wife has a picture somewhere of me dressed up as Jamie. So I got this this wig, a long wig, because he had long hair at the time. I got like a candy cigarette, and I had this hanging from my lip because, and I got his Jaws shirt, which he'd always wear, and I got his pajama pants, his shorts, and his slippers. And
it's a Hot Topic he was looking at, right?
He was wearing a Hot Topic, and I wasn't fully sleeved at the time, so I had one of the tattoo artists that I worked with down at Mark's Tattooing in Wilkes-Barre. I had one of the tattoo artists like crudely draw his tattoos on me and like on my neck and the black flag bars. And I walked down to the mall. I was like, dude, what's up? And he's like, what the fuck are you doing? He was like, I'm like, I'm you. He's like, but if I could find it, or if I'll talk to Trisha and see if she has it. I'll try and send it to you guys to post, or I'll post it on the Burial Ground site.
Totally. Yeah.
But yeah, that was my first time being Jamie.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, he was working on Hot Topic.
Yeah, he was working on Hot Topic. Wasn't him and Fader both worked there, right?
I think Fader worked there. I don't know. But anyways, on with the show. I could tell Jamie stories all day.
You know, there's a lot.
There's a lot.
I remember going down to a show, the Maryland show, and I had to sit with Dave and Jamie and our friend at the time, April, was driving, and they made me listen to Kiss for 4.5 hours.
Oof.
until I met my best friend, the one that helps us with the merch and stuff like that, I could listen to Kiss. And I wouldn't mind if you listen to Kiss if they brought one cassette. And I wouldn't mind if you brought one cassette, but they listened to 2 songs. And you're in the car, and it's a cassette, and they kept listening to 2 songs. They flip it over and listen, and then it was, by the time, Detroit Rock City was one, and the other one was, I'm going to say Beth. It was like 2 of the
hits.
Yeah, right. And all the way down it was him and Jamie, and I was in the back, and I was in the front, they were in the back. I didn't touch Kiss. I couldn't.
You resigned from the Kiss Army.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But then years later, my best friend Susie, I actually ended up going to, I think we went to 4 Kiss concerts. They put on a good show. They really do.
Can't deny it. You can't deny it.
Show. They put on great shows.
And we had a nice comment from Pine Brook John. He said, Tommy is so talented. His solo stuff is badass, and he plays every instrument. That is true. So you're all 5 members of your band currently, Existentialism.
Yeah.
And so I said before we started, let's do an Existentialism interview, but we'll shoot it 5 different times.
Yeah.
And then you can play each guy. And
I'll give you
us
the
a
app
different
that I
personality.
screenshot all 5, and so the
Yes.
5 of us could sit there. Yeah,
That
so.
would be perfect.
Oh my God.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be
And we'll just
hilarious.
interview all 5. That would be amazing.
No, actually, I think one of my friends says, I have adult something. It could be ADHD. Maybe that's why I am. Maybe I play 5 instruments. But if you ask me a question, and Steve knows this by now, I go off the tangent. And Steve, and I've noticed even the interaction me and Steve had the last year is Steve has to guide me back into the conversation.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
You know.
come on, Tom, right?
But if we were on a road trip on the way to Arizona, I would make it to Seattle, and Steve be like, "We left that road. Like, where the fuck you going?" And that's actually how the music comes out too. Because when we're writing, I think even during this last writing session, we would go from parts to parts, and one of us, either him or Steve, would have to be like, well, "Why don't we concentrate on this part?" And we're like, "Oh yeah." So I tend to be like that. Maybe that's why I play 5 instruments, and honestly, it makes me better in Burial Ground. It makes me better in any music endeavor, put it this way, if I actually have my own band, because everything that I want to accomplish in my mind for fulfillment I did.
Yep.
And so when I'm in Burial Ground, I'm a lot better than what I was in the past. In the past, I would just want to force it through. I wanted my point to be across, you know, even though I didn't write the music, I wanted, At this time, it's not. This time, a lot of times, it's because Eric is Eric. We hear from Eric like once every month, 3 weeks, you know. And so I feed a lot off Steve and Dave, and sometimes I act as the intermediate, or he'll act the intermediate. But mostly, I'm very passive, which is I am only allowed to be this passive, is because I have such a sense of fulfillment in my own band. And so when I come here, I want to do what's best for Burial Ground, but not taken away from Burial Ground, because I am in Burial Ground. Do you know what I mean? It's that
Sure.
sense. But anything that I don't get to try in Burial Ground, in the past, I'd be like, well, why did I get that part? Well, I don't need to worry about that, because I just go home and well, here it is. I'm playing with X, you know. So it's like I say, it's really, really nice. That's why playing this is real refreshing.
So I'm going to give you guys a little peek inside my head here. So when I think of Tommy being in a one-man band, I just picture him with like a kazoo and an accordion and like cymbals between his knees and stomping on a horn.
Yes.
Like
yes.
that's what I'm picturing as Tom, and I'm actually picturing Tommy do it. So if you guys want to take that image, do with it what you like.
I mean, there's riffs and songs that I wrote even for our last record, 31 and 32. There's actually a song, and I showed it to Dave. It's called Vacant Heart, and what's good about that is there's actually riffs in there. Being in Burial Ground now, they're not Burial Ground riffs because only Dave comes up with, but it's got. I don't even offer any riffs. When I go there, we listen to what Dave writes, and solely what Dave writes, or unless Brian wants to add something this time. I do have ideas that I use in my band that. Vacant Heart, if I show you the middle of that, I was like, man, this would be fucking great for Burial Ground. But I don't offer it because I don't need to. Because these guys already, you know, they complement everything in the band. And that's what's nice about it. I'm not, in the past, I would be like, you know, with other members, and even with Joey, I'd be like, all right, we'll let that part slide. But I really didn't think that part fit. I thought that part should be out. And now I don't have that problem. Now we speak up, you know. And it's like everybody's really chill this time. I mean, I'm really hyper. I say about 50 words a second, but I'm actually a lot, if you can believe it, a lot more relaxed now.
In terms of attitudes, we're all more chill now,
for sure.
Yeah, not everything.
And there's definitely a friendship here. I'm actually having a lot of fun. I think he said it on the other interview. I mean, I play shows at 2 or 4 in the morning, but if sometimes I'm not, Dave sleeps weird hours too. So sometimes he'll be up at 2 or 3 sending me music. But the problem is me and Dave forgot to exit out of the group chat. And, you know, and Steve wakes up to like fucking 52 messages because me and Dave, and I even said it in the day. I said, Dave, I think we should take it to our chat because I think we're waking everybody up.
It didn't wake me up. I just woke up and I'm just like, what is going on here? Why do we have so many messages? And,
so we do get along. And I think that's the most important part. Too is the music is there, the attitude's there, the material's there, the great fucking record, the camaraderie's there, but there's a friendship, and I think when you have that, as older too, I think when you're at that age, I mean I'm in my 50s now too, so everything you get, like I said, it's cliche, everything you thought you knew, you didn't know shit.
Yeah,
no shit.
It's funny. Last time we were there, Tommy's like, "Hey, make sure you guys get your prostates examined."
Yeah. Actually, I'm getting mine done next year. I heard it's a very euphoric feeling. Yeah, get your colonoscopy done too.
Oh, colonoscopy. That's what it was. It was the colonoscopy.
I do have to do prostate this year. So.
Oh yeah.
It's like nothing ever happened. Thank God for digital editing. And now we have Shockwave.
And so, that's how Tommy did a colonoscopy.
Yes, exactly.
You're all checked out. You're good now, right?
Yeah, 5 years.
Excellent.
Yeah, we just took a break for the colonoscopy.
Yeah.
Colonoscopy break.
As one does of men of a certain age.
Yeah.
You know. Apologies for people who are watching the stream. Had an issue with the laptop charger here that decided to just kind of go out, and the computer drained real fast. So sorry about that. But we wanted to kind of finish up the podcast, and we'll cut this all together tomorrow for you to make it an easier watch, so you don't have to watch both videos. So what was it like reuniting last year? What was that show like? How did that feel? And not just for Burial Ground, but also for Option too.
Yeah, no, it was fun. It was like I kept using the word, and I overused it probably, but it was cathartic. You know what I mean? Like because it was the family reunion, the high school reunion that I didn't know I needed. You know, like I don't go to my high school reunions. Like there's like 5 people that I talked to from my high school that I actually gave a shit about, you know, and but this is you know my family I grew up with, and unfortunately that's when people tend to come together is when one of their rank is no longer with us, and they kind of gravitate to each other for support, and we did this by sweating and screaming and spitting on each other and. And beating the crap out of each other. So it was definitely needed, you know, and it really it was just great. Everybody coming together. There was newer bands, you know, the older bands like Strength for a Reason. Like everybody just came together and just made it a huge success. So much so that, you know, they wanted to make it a yearly event. Like I wasn't planning on doing it again. I was just like, all right, cool, one and done. We did this. We honored Neil, and the people were just, you have to do this. You have to do this. And so we wanted to make it bigger and better. So that's why we tapped the godfathers of New York hardcore. You know, like the some of the OGs of New York hardcore to headline it. You know.
Yeah, I'm sure that was a big get. And...
Yeah, it was. We were talking to a few different bands, but like I said, Judge seemed to make the most sense, and it all kind of worked out. You know, we're dealing with the booking agent, and they were available, and it seemed to fit for what we wanted to do. So.
What did you learn from last year, or take from last year that you're putting into maybe this year?
we're gonna have the soundboard in the back
Not necessarily.
because I spent a good portion of my time, as I'm sure you did, protecting the camera on the side because the soundboard was actually on the side of the stage last year, and it was just hectic because people were like going crazy and dancing and oh no, the cameras, that's the main takeaway. We definitely want to protect the cameras.
It was actually these cameras, by the way, that we're using on the podcast right now, and that tripod over there, the black tripod in the corner. So it is adjusted the way that it is, and it is crooked the way that it is because almost immediately, maybe first or second band, somebody came over, immediately kicked it probably as hard as like a football. And I caught the camera part of it, but the chunk of the tripod just went flying. So it still has a piece missing. I have adjusted it down so that you don't miss that other piece, but the piece just went flying. I'm like, yep, it's going to be one of those. Because obviously we record shows all the time and do this kind of stuff. But usually I'm doing it through smaller stuff. I have like an old cell phone that I use and things like that.
Yeah.
So that like, if it gets busted, it gets busted. It's no big deal. But these guys we use for the podcast, but I wanted it to look a little bit nicer, so I wanted to set up. But yeah, that was definitely a learning process. But yeah, I'm glad that we're in the back this year.
Yeah, you're gonna be in the back and get the.
Maybe we could if it's a good enough. We got to run by the guys. We could record a live album.
Yeah, we talked about that. We're at least trying to get a live track out of it, but we'll see.
Right. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Because technology has changed so much, you probably could get a good, decent sound.
Yeah.
Obviously, you want to put the best quality out, So.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, also we're learning from last year too is this year it's not really a learning curve, but it's a new band. Mm-hmm. It's the old new band.
Right.
We're gonna have Steve fully committed to the set. Instead of bringing guest singers and stuff like that. And I think that's gonna be cool to have one voice in there. Because the last two times Burial got back together, there was always guest singers.
Yeah, we had the first time it was I sang a bunch of songs. Right. Brian Quinn actually put the guitar down and sang a song. He sang "Tapping the Vein." Yeah. Dan Mills from Cold World. He did a song. Terrence did a song or two.
Hudak did a song.
Yeah. And I think, didn't Arlo do a song?
Yeah, I think Arlo did a song.
Arlo did a song too.
Yeah, actually, it was funny because I actually found that in my archives I have my camcorder and I uploaded, and that's when I forgot I still had that until this band started doing this project. So yeah, the music-wise, that was tight. That's the lineup now.
Yeah,
that played in 2004. So.
Yeah, it's. I just think in general, we're another year older, another year smarter, and I think we kind of we got all our ducks in a row, So I think we're gonna have a fun show. Everybody's gonna have a good time. Everybody's gonna leave there with a smile on their face, hopefully.
And we got this pre-show this year, so that's an added element that we didn't have last year.
At the V-Spot. Starts doors open at 7 p.m. this Friday.
Yep. So I there was I got the idea. Actually, there's a festival out in Phoenix, or Mesa technically, called the Within These Walls Festival. Mm-hmm. And I went to it last year. Shutdown played, and I went out and hung out with Marky and saw Shutdown, and it was a good time. But I noticed that they were doing like a pre-show that was featuring like local bands, and I was like, that's kind of a pretty cool idea. And a different venue called the Rosetta Room, a little smaller venue, and I'm like, that kind of gave me the idea. I'm like, well, let's just try and put together a pre-show. And we were going about it in a bunch of different ways, and then I finally reached out. I'm like, you know what, let's just do it at a bar. Let's just like try and get, just kind of make it as simple as possible, but like get some bands that weren't necessarily that we would that weren't hardcore bands per se, but that still are in the realm, you know, and that's what we did. We 4 Ages is a band from Hazleton area, and they used to, the Nick Osachi great dude. I've known him for years. They used to be in a band called Jeepers Creepers. I really wanted them to play A Constant Murder, which is Mike Lambert. He was in Soulless and Fallout, and
he played an option.
He played it. He played in, well, briefly.
Yes.
Briefly. Oh, he was actually in American Youth, which was pre Side Over. That's his band. And Kristen, who was my partner in crime for quite a bit of time, really wanted to get Pucker up to play. And so she reached out to them and got them to play. And I think it's coming together nicely, and hopefully we don't oversell the V spot, but yeah, people seem to be pretty excited about that, and we will actually. I just announced it today on social media, but I'm picking up all of the tickets from the local distributors on Friday, and I will actually, whatever tickets we have, the pre-sale tickets we have left, just see me or one of the other Hardcore for Husvar people at the V spot, and we'll still sell you a ticket in advance. For the advanced ticket price at the V spot. So that's another reason to come down to the V spot, is to pick up your ticket for the next day.
And Vinny's going to be there, and Vinny's a good guy. I mean, he actually was such a last minute thing when these guys were serious. I text Vinny, and he got back to me not even 5 minutes
he
later.
cleared the schedule for us and hooked it up, and so it's going to be a good time. I may or may not be performing a song or two with A Constant Murder, but I guess you'll have to come to the show and find out what it would be.
And what do we want to say about the lineup for the actual show for Saturday this year? Because, it's pretty packed. We got Judge, Side Over, Human Animal, Controller, Rabid, Shaft Badgers, excellent name, Joystick Fury, and Still Won't Break.
Yeah, so, The first band that I actually, and I've told this story a few times, but the first band that I actually booked on the show, besides Barrow Ground and Side Over, we decided Barrow Ground and Side Over were going to come back because we were putting out new music. We were still going to keep going, so we're like, yeah, you know what, it makes sense because Side Over, was Side Over, he was in Side Over,
sure,
and we have the ties with Barrow Ground and Neil, so we figured that would make the most sense. I didn't want to just rerun the whole show again.
Yeah.
But the first band that I booked outside of that was Still Won't Break, because Zach from Still Won't Break reached out to me and was like, if you guys are doing the show again, he's like, do you think my band can play? And just started talking to him. Super cool kid, and they actually formed last year at Hardcore for Husvar. So basically the show, they were all like local musicians, they all played and whatnot, but they actually decided to be a band. Hey, will you grab me a water too while you're there?
Yes.
Thank you. And throw a little vodka in it.
I can do that.
There's a little mini fridge in the door there.
Yep. Oh, yes.
Yep. All the way at the end. There's a light switch right next to the door there on the left.
In the phone.
Wait a minute. Wait, there's a light switch.
You got it?
No. Oh, here it is.
There you go.
Okay. And where's the fridge? Oh, there it is.
All the way at the end there. You got it?
This is enthralling entertainment for all
Absolutely.
of you.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Yes.
Still Won't Break. He reached out to me and asked if they could play the show. He sent me, because they didn't even have a demo out, and he was sending me like rough cuts of their music. I'm like, fuck yeah, you guys. That even if you guys were just banging on pots and pans, I probably would have booked them. But they're actually really good. They're actually a really good like youth crew type hardcore band, nice. And they have like good hearts. I can just tell from talking to them, their hearts are in the right place. And another cool thing is Zach's mom used to go to hardcore shows to see Option. So like. I don't know. I just think it's complete. The circle is complete.
Talk about like the perfect story.
Yeah,
there.
no, like it's that they're such cool dudes. I'm really stoked to see them play. And again, they're playing first, so get there early. You don't want to miss them.
Yep.
And Zach actually has been very instrumental in helping me kind of get my finger on the pulse of some of the newer bands. And we were talking about other bands that I might be able to get, and he suggested Joystick Fury, which actually turns out that this is going to be their last show. they're gonna be breaking up, but they're like a youth crew type hardcore band from the Lehigh Valley.
Yeah.
And we wanted to get something a little heavier, a little closer to the vein of Barrow Ground ish stuff. And he suggested Controller, and he's like, check these guys out. And I was like, yeah. And I sent it to Kristen, and Kristen loved them. And so she was like, yeah, book them. So she reached out, booked them. And we were looking for and then we had talked to John Leonori. And he was at the show last year, and he was just really, really inspired by the show. And he used to have a band called Rabbit Shaft Badgers, and they put out a few demos. They played around. They had a pretty decent, decent.
They opened for Burial Ground many times.
They play all the time with Burial Ground, and John's just such a great dude. I love that dude. And he's like, if we could put the band together, he's like, could we play? I'm like, yeah, fuck it, why not? You know what I mean? That'd be great, you know. Rabbit Shaft Badgers, let's do this. And then we were looking for another band to play, and we were talking to a few different people, and I've still kept in contact with Eric EMS from Human Animal. He used to be in a band called Brothers Keeper that we used to play with all the time. He had a fanzine. Like, he was really involved in the scene back in the early 90s and the early to mid 90s when, you know, we were going to shows a lot. I believe he was from Carlisle originally. He lives out in Erie now. But he had the band Human Animal, and I've been talking to him back and forth for, you know, years. Just saying, we just kind of touch base every once in a while. And I was like, you know what? Because I'd been listening to them a lot, and I was like, you know what, let's see if they can play. I reached out to him, and it actually was like the perfect scenario, because he's like, well, I'm going to on a trip, and my family is going to drop me off on the highway to meet the band on the way out to the show. Like, it just worked out perfectly, and they're really a really good band. They're like a Erie Buffalo like style band, and I've been really, really digging them a lot lately. And then of course, we reached out to John Scanlon, who books for a lot of the New York bands, and we were talking. He's like, well, what bands do you want? And I gave him a list of bands, and he's like, okay, well, this, and that. We just went through, and again, Judge just seemed to make the most sense. And I was just telling the story earlier. And it always ties back to Neil. When I moved out to Arizona in 2016, the first show I went to, Neil came out to hang out with me and go see Judge, because Judge had just started playing again, and we're like, because we had loved Judge when we were kids, you know what I mean? But they broke up before we got to see them, and we're like, Judge, let's go. And so we went. We saw Judge together, and it was an amazing night. And so I thought that once he suggested Judge, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense, especially with the Neil tie-in, you know.
Yeah.
And Neil would have loved it, and then he would have tried to steal one of their bass riffs. But no, it just all came together, and. It's gonna be a fantastic time, and again, I couldn't have done it without Kristen. She really helped me. She really basically forced me to do the first year, and she's like I've said before, she's the heart for hardcore for Husvar. She pushed me to do things that I didn't necessarily, not that I didn't want to do, that I was just like, fine. I wanted to do it, but I knew what it entailed, and
a lot of people don't realize, like, when you organize, like, I have no part in this. I'm just told, to play here and this and that. But between Steve and Kristen and Lambert and all these guys, people don't realize this isn't just a few phone calls and this and that. I mean, there's a production.
There's a lot going into it, and then on the actual, like, charity part of it, the Hardcore for Husvar Foundation or whatever they're doing. Ryan and his new fiance Nicole, congratulations, guys! They're recently engaged, are heading up that whole part of it. They're organizing because we're doing like a basket raffle out in the basket raffle is going to be in the hallway.
Year, right?
What's
on
that?
Behalf of Neil.
They handed out a scholarship on behalf of Neil, and we're giving money, basically everybody's getting paid for the show as far as like the bands, and everybody's taken care of. Whatever we make after that is going towards the fund, and it's going towards NAMI. But the National Alliance for Mental Illness. Yes. Nailed it.
Come on, you're a singer. That's not should pop off your tongue.
The last podcast I did, I couldn't remember what's NAMI stand for. I'm like a deer in headlights. I just froze. I'm like, I can't remember right now. But anyways, I'm old.
We're talking about these young up and comers and things like that. What do you see any big differences or similarities now between the scene when you guys were a big part of it, when you were younger, and stuff happening now in terms of the hardcore metal scene?
The DIY in the 90s was a lot more creative because everything's digitalized, everything's quantified, everything technology has caught up. Doing DIY today is much easier. Back then, we would actually, making flyers for burial ground shows. None of us had access to a
computer.
Correct. Or a printer, so I would run to the Scranton Public Library, and I knew it was going to print out like 100, 200 sheets. Me and Jamie did this, and I said, and we would scrounge up the money, and back then, those machines took quarters. Mm-hmm. And so you would actually go to the bank. I went to People's Security, grab a roll of quarters, ran to the Scranton Library, and you had to time it because people used those copiers back then.
Yeah.
And usually people go to lunch around 12 to 1, and I was going to the U, and I would actually run down from the University of Scranton around 12:30 to 1 and just put quarters in there, and you could do 50 copies at a time for like $1.50 or something, right? And you put quarters in and you sit there just hoping nobody's around because you're going to tie up that fucking printer. And the librarian the lady was really nice. I think her name was Brenda, if my memory serves. To the point whenever she saw me,
she was wearing a blue dress.
She was wearing a blue dress.
She had green hair. No,
but she actually made sure that when I ran in, that the photocopier had paper because she knew how many flyers I was going to print.
Yeah.
And then the one time I went down, I said, "Do you mind if I put?" Because Jamie wanted to get creative, so we went to I think it was when Staples first opened. This is high tech shit. Okay, we bought color paper.
Ooh.
Only to find out that the color paper, back then copiers were more finicky. After 25, it kind of overheated. So after that, there was just a few flyers you'll see that are yellow and red, and then the rest because it would just fry it. So DIY is much easier. Getting exposure is a lot easier with the social media, the internet, and everything. The only problem with I see is not towards promotion and stuff. I think that stuff, kids will always be creative. We were creative at that age. Whoever could draw any kind of tag art. I remember my friend, we had a kid in college would like just tag something, and then we're like, that looks cool. Even though now looking back, it looks like shit, but it looks like good on a flyer. And you would literally be laying there with the 8x10, and you would cut out, and then you put a Scotch tape in between so you could stick the things in, and then type up or write something, and then you gotta turn it over and make sure all of them are stuck together, and you can photocopy it. That was actually the fun part. And kids don't have to do that today. The only part that technology I think has ruined music, and this is for me, is digital editing of their music, because the stuff they're putting, like the stuff I do on my band page. As I was talking to Jason earlier, is when you see an X video, I actually play those songs 5 times in sync. I don't edit individual videos. The only time I edit is just the beginning, so everything's got the same watermark. Kids today cheat. So what they're putting out on the internet, by the time you see them, they sound so much fucking better. And that should never be. Me and Steve grew up. He's been over 1,000 shows. I've been over 1,000 shows. It's always about that live feel.
Yeah.
And seeing a band live. Bands sound good still, like VOD. Love VOD, but VOD was so much better live. We knew Tim, I knew Brandon and all those guys, but when you went to see VOD, it was totally different than listening to their album. Even when they signed to a major label, their live shows was way better than what they did. And that's something the kids can't seem to do. And a couple bands I did check out, they sound good online. And because they do all these digital editing and stuff like that, when you get live, they're sloppy. They don't practice. And but that's the only drawback I would see. But as far as kids will always be kids, and children are very creative at that age. But the only thing, it was a lot more fun for me to do DIY than them now. They can do it at the fucking comfort of their house with their fucking smartphone. We're literally running around like bumming car, getting car pools. Because back then sometimes I didn't drive. I didn't have my car, or I didn't have money for gas, and we would have to carpool. Or Dave would drive me, or Eric would drive me. But we made sure to get it done. So I think that is just a generational thing because the technology has caught up. So that's all.
Okay,
so that's the difference I see.
These damn kids.
Damn kids. Cheers.
How about you? Any major differences?
No, I honestly
similarities?
think to be honest with you, I think it's harder for kids in the digital age, in the sense that there's so much stuff out there,
right?
And it's hard to filter through.
Yeah,
it's hard to it's hard to stand out in the digital age. Like you have to do something really spectacular, and that's why one of the things, like, we're putting our music out there, and if you like it, you like it, you don't. But like, there are bands out there that are like banking on people liking their music so they can make a career out of it, or tour, or whatever they want to do. But I think it's a little harder in the sense that not that it's oversaturated, but it's just hard to make yourself stand out in the digital age. And sometimes people they resort to like gimmicks and tactic, like stuff like that, to try and stand out. I don't know. Nothing stands out to me like a good live show. Like, to get out there.
We had a joke the other day. Steve sent this survey over, and they said you can vote for this band. How many times was it the Revolver magazine stuff?
Oh yeah.
And the top band had 489,000 votes, and here's Burial Ground, like 200. And I found it funny because that's just the way we laugh. Now back then we'd be like, dude, we got to get all our friends. But we're at the age, like, we're proud of our records. We're comfortable with what we're playing. We know we're going to play shows. We're not going to be a band touring and stuff. But it's just funny when they send stuff like this band on top had 489,000 votes, and just Burial Ground, we got 200.
Yeah.
And we just all laughed.
Yeah.
We were going to go set in the computer and start, you have to create an email account, and you can do that with AI these days, and create, 50,000 AI and just flood it. And like I said, it's, but for, it's he's right. It's Bobby Blitz from Overkill used to say, it's too many guys trying to piss in the same urinal. And that's the problem with the music today, because. And you're right about gimmick. I mean, this wasn't even like a modern thing. I mean, how do you think Slipknot? They were known for music at first. They were known about ways that wearing masks and doing their shows.
Yeah.
Yep. It's funny, you guys found one of the only good things you can use AI for.
Yeah, Jamie. Dumping Jamie into the mix. You have to try.
Yeah, that's one of the things. Every time we posted about the thing, that's one of the comments. We're like, wow, AI did something good. AI did something good.
Right, for once. Yeah. Because people are using it to just create music wholesale.
Yeah.
Actually, there's AI bands and they're awful.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It is. You just pop into what's the chat GPT and stuff. They create me a hardcore band, and they'll actually create a hardcore band.
My boss at work did an AI song about our workplace, which was actually pretty goddamn funny. He wrote the lyrics, and then he had like a country version and like a metal version, and he was, it was just basically like talking about all the people at work doing this, doing that, and here you're gonna do this, and it was really fucking funny. But it obviously was AI because he doesn't have a band.
But I mean, at least the intention is different there, where it's just like, hey, this is just to jokes and whatever. Whereas the cynical aspect of it is you have these companies like Spotify and whatever else want to take away from the real artists because they don't pay them as it is and pay them so small, so that they are creating this AI. They're saying they're not, but of course they are behind a lot of this AI stuff because they want you to listen to that stuff, and then they slip it into their playlists that people are listening to, and they're like, oh, I like this, and they're playing in the background. They're not really like thinking with a critical ear or anything like that. They're not really listening in and understanding that it's AI, so they're just kind of letting it go. And obviously, as the technology gets better and better, it's like, are you trying to replace art
production
here?
too? Everybody uses, and I talked to Steve and Dave about it. Is once Andy Sneap came onto the picture, everybody uses his guitar tone. Metal albums, just metal albums, not hardcore. Yeah. Just metal bands from 2010 on, they all use the same guitar tone. So let me get this straight: you're using 15 pedals, but you're just using the Andy Sneap production. So what the fuck's the difference? But every metal band after 2010, if it's produced by, even if it's not produced by Andy Sneap, it's that sound. he found that right tone.
Right.
And so Nuclear Blast, and this is actually really sad, I'll say this really short, is Nuclear Blast and Century Media, these guys are supposed to be the godfather of underground music. Nowadays, what they do is they get musicians from Berkeley School of Music, and they put a good female vocal that could shout and sing clean, and they actually put these guys in a room and create bands. Not the good old fashioned, oh, hey Neil, can you fucking do anything? Play bass? Okay, let's play bass, I'll sing. Those days are dead. They're actually getting people who are seasoned players from, because there's so many musicians out there.
Yeah.
I just put 4 gifted guys together and put one mouthpiece or a gimmick. And generally these days, Nuclear Blast is notorious for it. We'll get a good looking chick and with 4 guys that play jazz, but now we're gonna make them play metal. And these bands come out. Ginger is one of them. That's one.
Really?
Of them. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That these bands are put together.
So they're like a boy band. Like they used to put the boy bands together.
Right.
But the concept, and they do that, and they get these, because if you watch those bands, those guys are all gifted musicians, and I'm like, so what's their story? And then when you read their story, they're like, oh, compiled by, they make this fluff about it, and you're like, yeah, you guys didn't meet in a fucking garage or a fucking mall like we did.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, yo, you're pretty good, let's go be in my band. And that's, I think the human aspect is lost. So a lot of those bands that pop out now, and I'm a huge, growing up was in the 90s, you know, I played in Burial Ground. I was in the hardcore scene, but I showed up. I mean, I'll give you one. When I first played, my first show with Burial Ground, I wore an Iron Maiden X Factor shirt. And actually, that shirt, by the end of the show, I was, it was so hot, I took the shirt off. But I got shit for that at the time, because they're like, you can't be wearing that shirt. It's a hardcore show. Either Jamie, it was probably Jamie or somebody else that said that you got to wear a different shirt. So I started wearing ring tees with logos, and then I went to get Junko pants like everybody else did. But yeah, I mean, it was, I think the music aspect of finding random people to play music together that are in the same vicinity is kind of lost.
It's not as organic.
No.
Right.
It's like prepackaged.
Yeah.
It's like a TV dinner. Fucking
Yeah.
put it in a microwave and you're going to get the results. So
Yeah.
So that part of music I'm very saddened by, and everybody sounds the same. Because as much, I listened to over 200 bands, but almost no bands after 2010. Because I can't. Because when you listen, it's so polished.
Right.
It's so, and there's nothing wrong with sounding polished, but if you listen to records like my sister, I remember, I didn't know about Genesis. I only knew Genesis about Phil Collins. I didn't know about the Peter Gabriel days. And so when my sister was in college, I married her, and when she put it on, she said, I bet you don't know who this is. And I listened to it. They had a vinyl, and I'm like, I don't know, Emerson, Lake and Palmer. She goes, that's Genesis. She goes, that's Phil Collins on the drums. And I was like, holy fuck. But those records, you can hear, just like Bonham records, you can hear a little bit, not mistakes, but they're stuff that you can't create digitally.
Yeah.
There's no organic feel to it. You know, and that's the problem with music today. It's processed.
Yeah.
That's why when we did this record, it was great, because we did not, the only samples we took is from our instruments. Like the bass drums you hear on this record, on Ashes, is actually my bass drum. We did not use a sound replacer. We took that bass drum. That's why I had to bring the bass drum back in and do the kicks, because we didn't get a sample of my bass drum. And a lot of studios you go to, they'll say, you do record a bass drum. They're like, okay, we got all these samples, but it's not your bass drum. That sample came from a digital one. And that's why on this record, I guess the word they use is typewriter bass drum. Listen to Ashes. It's not a typewriter bass drum. And there's a reason for that, because it's an actual bass drum sound. So there you go.
So I figured the best way to maybe wrap this up is if you guys want to share any memories or stories of Neil, since obviously hardcore for Husvar is very much about.
I actually have one that's really funny. One, but I'll let Steve go because mine's really short.
Oh man, well, go with your short one first. I gotta think of a good one.
Well, by Petula's Ice Cream, where Neil lived. Petula's Ice Cream. It's in right by Great Wall. He lived in.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lived there. So we went to a party, after party, and Neil was playing Resident Evil. He was the first one to get everything first. So he had the PlayStation, and he was playing Resident Evil 2. And we just got back from the show, Burial Ground. We actually met there, and there was actually people that day was decked out. There was people all over his house, and we're having fun. And you know, back then I drank too and stuff like that. And there's just people arguing, and they're arguing about like the stupidest shit in the world. And I remember Neil's one-liner, and he goes, and I'm gonna say it anyway, but he goes, yeah, arguing, and he was arguing with another guy because it was like something online, and he goes, arguing on the internet's like the Special Olympics. Even if you win, you're still retarded. And I spit my beer out. I laughed my ass off. But he actually said that. He was drunk too, right? But these guys were just arguing about it, right? And they were arguing online. Well, this kid said this and this. And Neil just says, hey, even if you win, it's like the Special Olympics. Even if you win, you're still retarded. And I'm like, okay. That's one. I love that story. Go ahead.
Just in general, Neil would always try and do stuff to make people laugh, and he always just like he would when we were in high school. We also all had leather jackets. We were metalheads and had our leather jackets. He, at one point in time, he found a dead bird on the ground and carried it around in his pocket, in his jacket. And he'd be like, oh, look, it's I can't remember what he named it. It was like Sparky or something. Look, it's my little pet Sparky. And just like, what are you doing? What, you know? Or he would like see a piece of pizza on the ground with ants on it. He'd brush the ants off and be like, and just take a bite of it. And we're like, dude, the fuck, stop. And he would just do anything to try and make people laugh to get it. One more quick story.
Absolutely.
One more quick story. So we were at his mom's house, and his mom we just started. You know, we're 17. We're starting to grow facial hair, and he started growing like sideburns or something, and he comes out of the bathroom and he goes. His mom goes, get in there and shave your face, your entire face. So he comes back out with shaving cream all over his entire face, on his forehead, just to get it, make me and Fada laugh. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he ended up standing there shaving his entire face, which is really funny because later years, I guess he shaved up by his eye, and I guess by shaving it caused it to continue growing. I don't know, but he started growing hair up here, and he's like, now I gotta fucking shave up here because I did that for you guys back in the day. I'm like, I don't know if that's necessarily true. Maybe you would have grown hair there anyways. Maybe you're a fucking wolf man. I don't know.
He is right though. If you're more shaved, the hair will come out.
Yeah, but because he did that to just make us laugh and shaved his entire face because his mom told him to go shave his entire face. Nope. Yeah. So he was. One more last one. It's also going back to high school. His mom had pictures of all the kids hung up in the living room, and he replaced his photograph with a photo of Kirk Hammett from Metal Hammer magazine playing guitar, and it was there for like 2 weeks, and his mom didn't even notice. He would come over and he'd be like, still there.
Actually, I have one other story with Neil.
I could go on all night, honestly.
Was in North Scranton. I had gone to school with Lin Lambert, so he's my thing, and I met Husvar. And he was also, and I didn't know that was Neil's brother. Didn't know. I was still learning English in 7th grade, so I didn't put one and one together. And Brian, I always took bus 15 with Mr. Al, and we were going out one day, and we're walking around North Scranton, going up to this way. That's where the buses are. And we hear, hey, I told you, don't be in here. He didn't say fuck, don't be in here, blah, blah. And this kid runs down the hallway with the skateboard, and there's Mr. Chiano chasing him out. And Ryan goes, that's my brother. That's my brother right there. Because Neil was already in high school, so he just came back to fuck around in North Scranton. Yeah. But me and Ryan walking, he goes, hey, that's my brother. And then I found out Husvar. Okay, I got it. So that's another time. I had already met Neil, but I didn't realize that was Ryan's brother. So there you go.
It's funny how you end up being good friends with people with the same close initials to you. Because me, Gulbin, Husvar, and Fada, FGH, we were always together in classes, and we just kind of gravitated towards each other.
I met Mike Lambert before I even met you guys, because I met Mike in 6th grade in North Scranton. Lin. So I always.
That's one of my favorite stories is the hamburger story. The when you would do your impersonation. Oh, we won't do that one though.
No, we won't do that one.
We'll tell you off camera.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's an interesting one.
Hey, you got to leave them hanging, wanting a little more.
Yeah.
You
have to come to the show. Tommy will tell them while we're playing.
There we go.
we're strapped on time. We got to fly through this.
Oh yeah, we do. Yeah. No, we're gonna do it nice and slow. Tommy likes to play fast.
Well, I think we'll be fine. Yeah. I'm probably gonna look at the clock because we have a half an hour, so I'm probably gonna speed through it. But we'll see tomorrow. I don't tend.
We'll be fine. We'll be fine. I'll just not say much. I'll be brief.
That's fine.
right.
I think we're gonna go like first 3 songs before we even take a break. So.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
So.
Anyways.
So anything else you guys want to mention?
No, just come out to the show on Friday. Come out to the show on Saturday. It's gonna be a good time. I got my daughter, lovely daughter here from come from Arizona. She's gonna be signing autographs.
You can meet her at the merch stand.
She's gonna be selling the Burial Ground merch.
Tip her.
Yeah, she's
tip.
Yeah, she accepts tips. Yeah, so just come out and hang out, celebrate Neil, have some hardcore in your life.
Yeah, make sure you guys go to Apple Music and Spotify. It's Burial Ground, Ashes from the Human Flame. It's a great record. Make sure you stream the shit out of it. Don't worry about it. We're not making any money. Just always remember, Slipknot's record was streamed 1 million streams in 24 hours. They got a check for $400. So we're not getting rich off this.
No, we're not.
But just do it just to support.
But do it to support and do it because it's good.
Yeah. It's a good record.
It's a good record.
Yeah, it's a really good record.
I enjoy it. Like I made that record. We made that record for us, and I enjoy it. So
it's a very cohesive record. It really showcases not only writing, but you can definitely see that the members are cohesive, and I think that's the best part is. There's nothing on this record when you listen to it, you'd be like, that part, what's that part doing in the song? Because let's face it, we listen to enough music. There's some songs you're like, well, the rest of the song, what's that part doing there?
Yeah.
You don't have that in this record. It flows from the opener to Forever Friends. It just flows. And for those who remember Jamie, I mean, that's just a godsend. So I mean,
yeah, it's definitely if you're a fan of old Burial Ground, it's definitely fun. If you've never heard Burial Ground before. It's a good record to listen to.
It is.
Check it out.
And thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, appreciate you having us here. And then these guys are going to be hopefully if the computer doesn't break again. Live streaming the show.
Yeah. And then sometime near future, I'll show up with my 4 other cells, and I'll get 4 cutouts to sit with me.
Yes.
Yeah. And we'll do an X one. So
that would be awesome. I love that. So we'll run down all the details for you. Burial Ground's 4-song EP, Ashes from the Human Flame, is available now on CD. You can get at the show and all major streaming platforms. Hardcore for Husvar will host a pre-show at the V-Spot in Scranton on Friday, July 24th at 7 p.m. with Pucker Up, A Constant Murder, 4 Ages, and Loading. Is there admission $10?
Oh, I'm saying $10 to get in the door.
$10. Okay.
It's 21 and up, so it's a bar.
Right.
So
whereas
and don't show up with 2 kids in an overcoat standing on top of each other.
actually,
don't do that.
Kids can attend with parents.
Well,
yeah. So
I think you have to be 18 plus.
18 above, and that's why. That's how my daughter's getting in there.
And then this Hardcore for Husvar 2 is all ages.
Oh, that's all ages.
That's all ages. So
yes.
And Burial Ground will be performing there at St. Mary's Center in Scranton on Saturday, July 25th. We have Judge Sideover, who we also had on the podcast, so please go back and check out that episode too. Human Animal, Controller, Rabid Shaft Badgers, Joystick Fury, and Still Won't Break. Tickets, which are $25 in advance or $30 the day of the show, are on sale now at various local businesses. You can get them at the V-Spot for that discounted rate on Friday, so make sure that you head to that. And if you want any more details about where everything is and all that good stuff, it's Hardcore 4, the number 4, HUZ.com for more info. And thanks so much for tuning in to the NEPA Scene Podcast. Obviously, if you made it this far, you enjoyed it. Like, comment, share, all that good stuff so that it reaches more people in the algorithm. Apologize for the technical issue there. I'm going to now invest money in about 500 chargers.
Fake chargers.
Yes. The generic chargers. That's the sad thing. The good charger that actually came with the damn thing gave out. But the generic one that I bought for like a third of the price is working fine. So take that for what it is. Thank you so much. We will see you next week for another NEPA Scene Podcast. And we'll see you Saturday at the show. We'll be live streaming. So please go. Yeah. But if you absolutely cannot go, tune into that stream.
Be there.
Thank you very much, guys.